Might have to do that.
Now we have audio. Right?
Boop, boop, boop. I don't know. I don't hear it. I don't see it. Test, test. Yep, we do.
Hello.
This is part of the love of the show.
This is fun.
There we go. All right.
I feel like I'm hooked up to life support.
Zach's going to keep us informed.
Excellent.
All right. There we go. Get things figured out.
Hold on. Oh, shit.
All right, you are watching Session
My
Stream
bad.
live from Shaker's Bar,
Sorry.
downtown Cape. We are the ragmatag roll of local live streamers, guerrilla video as we call it. And we have been doing this now. This is episode 44. One every week for 44 weeks. See, I did that math, Joy?
I mean, I don't know. I'm a girl. I don't do math, so.
Wait, let me make you a sandwich. Hold on.
So there's not
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, I know, right? So, I'm going to introduce our guest here in a second. There's some brand new faces on the dais or whatever your pronunciation is, and I'm super happy to have them here. It isn't often that people from opposing views get to sit down at the table and actually get to share ideas and express, have conversation and be fair with each other. And hopefully Zach doesn't hit me with the bottle over here, and we'll be good. So we'll see. This freaking phone's doing that crap again where I can't. Okay. So let me introduce the guest real quick. It's before I lose my train of thought. It's Demond. I'll get it correct. I usually say Demond. I figure I'm safe with Demond. It's without hard D. It's a hard D. You like hard D, don't you? Ba-dum-bum.
That's shit.
What she
I was gonna
said.
say, if the girls
Zach's like,
whoop,
whoop, we've already started.
Never mind, that was
Brandon's here again.
Brandon.
I put it together from the history of
Zach
the
Smith's
game
here,
too many times.
and the lovely Joy Brooker's here.
What's up?
And I do call the other Zach lovely too. So you're not the only one that I
Okay.
call lovely too. I didn't
I feel
specifically.
better.
Zach is with us in a way.
Yeah, we
I
are
would
wearing.
never want to be complimented
We are. I should say,
specifically.
Demond is wearing Zach's hat as a tribute to Zach. So, little explanation. Zach is out this week. He is taking some time to kind of recoup and gather his thoughts. And a guy that big with so much energy and so much knowledge, we got to give him time to kind of re-energize himself. So, Zach, we love you. We miss you, and I know where you're watching. So, we're here, and you can take part of the show now. Just be prepared. Let's all give him one of these because that's kind of how we do it. All right, let's be prepared. Sorry if your parents are watching. I don't know. Let's all be prepared for Zach on the comment stream because he's going to blow it up.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let me turn on comments.
This is the first
He's
time
gonna treat this stream like a toilet.
he is, and this is the
Blow
first
that
time
bitch
he's really
up.
actually been a commenter on the stream as opposed to being on the show. So it should be interesting what he does. So, all right. So we're gonna talk about a couple of new segments. Damon was gonna start that this week, but when Zach gets back, we'll do it. But we're introducing a couple of segments. One is called Black Stuff, White Stuff. I decided not to call it the other, just to be fair and be easy. So Black Stuff, White Stuff, and because some of our differences make us good together. So what I'm saying is you and Zach decided to do Black Stuff, White Stuff, because what we're trying to show is you're going to do white stuff white people do, and he's going to do stuff black people do, and you guys work that out together. And it's also a way to show it's okay to recognize our differences without being hateful to each other, because there are some things that each of the races do that's funny, and when we deny the fact that you don't have to put that on the floor, you can put it up there. Advertise Marco's, maybe we get some free stuff.
Excellent.
Marco's.
What is
Nice.
It's a soap.
Got a
that? Nice.
Marco.
shit.
That's the first time I've ever sneezed on the show. Zach, you're getting to me, buddy.
Sorry, man.
So anyway, Zach, hello.
Hey, what's up?
How are you, buddy?
I'm pretty good. How
Good.
are you?
I'm good, man. Are you? I know as I go on with this tonight, we're going to get probably a little more into exchanges with each other. But how are you with the events of the world right now? Are you just kind of soaking it all up? And
I mean, to a degree, I am kind of soaking it all up. It's not really even for me a tough decision to sit back and just think about things because things are happening so quickly. But I mean, realistically, I don't feel like just the fact that I have the ability to sit back and think about it is kind of a luxury. So, and I know that there are a lot of people right now that don't have that luxury, and so, it's really crazy right now, honestly. And
yeah, and it's true. Everything is moving really fast, and that's why, like on this show, we take 2 hours. We try to slow it down a little, and then we will talk about stuff, but we talk about it in kind of an orderly fashion where it's not going to be confusing. Sure. So you have a good point. And this is a good way for people to take 2 hours and just kind of sit and listen to us give our opinions and our ideas, and hopefully we back up some stuff with facts. And the one thing on the show that I'll let you guys know is we always state when we're giving an opinion, or you say I think, or if you're given a fact and you know you have a fact, then say, hey, I read this on such and such, and then people can verify it and look it up. We have a lot of people that'll watch on the stream and they'll actually check stuff. So that's the only thing we do is don't represent as fact unless you know it is. And if you were misinformed, that's different. Obviously, that's different.
So don't talk about the deep state.
Well, that's the thing. We have never actually, honestly, even though that would be something you think we haven't actually.
I mean, we've like
Really?
touched on it for like a minute,
We
but
round about it as far as calling
deep
it the
state.
deep state.
deep state.
It's
'Cause that
Trump's
stuff's
big
hard
thing.
to verify. You
Well,
know?
that's the thing.
It's just shit
That's
that
the
we.
thing.
It's
there's
like
people-
common knowledge.
yeah, but like you know.
That's like saying you can
Fact-checking.
say anything you want
Exactly.
in the deep state. You can
Right.
literally say anything you want about
or
it,
you can
or
accuse
yeah,
anybody of
yeah.
anything you
It's
want.
it's a great fallback.
But if you have like someone who fact checks you, then like they're
Right.
brainwashed.
Right.
So like.
And we're gonna.
Yeah.
So we do talk about that stuff a lot. Not so much in the form of deep state.
Right.
But it is interesting that you've said that because we actually have never made that a topic. That's
Yeah.
that's
But
yeah.
with
think
stuff like that, you
actually-
know, that's hard to prove.
Actually, I think we have, especially last week, we've just never had that title applied to it of deep state. We've
Well-
talked about that, but we've never talked about it in that title.
In that regard,
I feel like
yeah.
Right.
I just feel like it's always been a thing. It's just now it has a name.
But
Yeah.
when you think deep state is basically conspiracy theories, it's like a
Yeah,
big
and
batch
it's
of
always
like
been
a whole
around,
bunch
and
of
we've
what
talked
ifs,
about
and
it.
I,
It's just
this
now it
guy
has a title
said
to it.
this on the
Well,
side of
what's
the road.
interesting is there's actually been a couple of people on Facebook that like have literally posted fake memes of like
Yeah, it's
things
sad.
George Soros supposedly said or this guy supposedly
Like, is George Soros
said.
actually a real person?
Yeah, he's a real
Yeah.
person.
He's actually
But
a real
there's
person.
I mean, I don't know.
Because
He's
I've
not
never
a
seen him.
robot.
I've never seen him on video anywhere.
He's
I've
ju-
seen him in interviews like
I've
a
seen
few
like
years
pictures
back.
of him. Like I've seen him like walking out of places.
But where? Like,
whatever.
recently?
No, it was years ago.
Like
He
I
isn't-
think he lives on Jupiter or Mars. That's why we can't get in space.
I mean, that's why all the UFOs are here. Is because
Yeah.
George Soros is
Like,
spying
we're
on
not
us,
staying
Hold on,
here.
but
according
the
to
thing is, that what I'm saying is like, there's actually a YouTube. I used to follow it on Twitter, but I hate Twitter, so I started following their YouTube.
Do you hate
page.
Twitter too?
Yeah,
Dude,
I
Twitter's
started
so
following.
Do you hate Twitter?
I kind of
Can
love
we-
Twitter.
do
man.
you like
I kinda
Twitter?
Here's
do.
the
Yeah.
thing.
Do you like
following-
it?
No, I'm
Okay,
finished.
go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
started following their YouTube page because I got more stuff out of it, and it's literally a
By the way,
page
thanks
that
for
has been around since
introducing me. This is really good.
Bush's,
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
since
it's my
Bush's
favorite.
time in office.
Yeah.
And what it was is like it literally just talks about how like it'll take stuff that like was called out on the internet that people posted, and it like mostly happens to celebrities. Well, that gets in the public eye.
Yeah.
Like journalists will
Yeah.
make a post like this celebrity did this, and
Yeah.
then the celebrity will respond, just let everyone know, no, I didn't.
So it's more like
Yeah.
to elicit
thing
a
is-
reaction than it is anything
no, but the thing
else.
is, no. In those cases with journalists, it literally was those journalists trying to make a story.
Okay.
And the thing is, the story was BS. So what I'm saying is like this has been around. It's just now it has a title. Now instead of saying okay this type of scenario, when me saying everything I just said,
Right.
I could just be like deep state.
Okay, so they
Well-
just didn't have a word for it, but
Yeah,
stuff
that's
was
what
like
I'm saying.
circulating.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like
What did it was we have 24-hour news cycle,
I feel like
literally.
it's always been there. Bush gave it. I mean,
And well,
he
Bush,
the
Bush,
one- Trump's
Good
the
old
one that
W.
said Trump the one who said
Oh,
something about it. It's always been there.
Trump
the one
uses
who put
it.
the
Trump
title.
uses that as a fail safe, and he whenever something doesn't go his way or he thinks something's off, he says deep state. Do I think that there are
Basically.
people in Washington D.C. that want Trump to get him out of office? Do I think that there's a group of senators and congressmen that meet and talk about what can we do here? Yeah, but that's part of politics. All right, so the next segment besides black stuff, white stuff is, and that's going to be Damon and Zach when Zach gets back, and then the next one's called B shit. B shit is like bullshit, where I read Babylon B headlines.
Okay.
Babylon.
Yeah, I love
The
that.
Babylon Bee.
Babylon B is
It's
hilarious because they
Jesus
make
is
fun
the
of
onion.
everybody. It is Jesus onion. But they make fun of everybody. They make fun of Trump and everybody. So I've got several headlines I'm going to read for fun. So if you guys want to check out Babylon B out there, go on to get the app of it.
Okay.
And I get daily, actually sometimes twice a day. And they're completely fake satire stories, but they word them so funny that you want to read what it says. And it's literally, it puts a serious twinge on it, but it's actually completely made up. And I think part of that is because of Trump. I think he kind of encourages and inspires that type of behavior, and it's fun. So speaking of behavior that's fun, there's a show on ID. I do weird segues, so I'm going fun to like investigation
I'm
discovery.
thinking about how much fun
Depression
Trump
and,
is.
like murder calls.
Exactly. Talking about fun stuff, now we're going to this. So I just watched one from a show called The Case That Haunts Me. So these are cops are recreating like stuff.
I've heard of that before.
Okay, so do you know what a long pig is? Long pig.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can picture it, but it's
Oh,
not
I'm fascinated,
pretty, so
dude. I'm fascinated. So here's
What
what
is
it
We
is.
should all figure. We should all guess.
Okay, let's
man.
take a guess. What is your guess that long pig is?
I don't want to give it a complete description, but I do want to say is my ex-wife knows what it is, and she thought it was beautiful.
Oh wow! See how you did
Fuck.
that? Deep state. All right, move on.
I know exactly what it is. So you want me to
okay,
be last?
no, don't. Yeah, you be last.
I have no idea what it is,
But
I mean, I'm
guess.
sure it's going to be like.
Take a wild guess.
It's got to have something with the human anatomy.
Okay, pretty close.
a long pig.
Long pig is the code, is the word.
And this is a code word for like cop activity.
Yeah, it's kind of a way to like hide something that you're trying to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just picturing a pig in my head.
Okay.
That's like
Kinda.
7 feet long.
So this is exactly
You
what the
actually
cop,
got the point.
the first cop that saw this terminology on this
Oh.
website had to ask this specialist in this. There's actually people that specialize. So Brandon, you want to tell them what it is?
So long pig is the
and
word
it freaks me
for-
out that you know this.
So
Nerd.
what do you call a dead cow?
No, wait till you hear it.
Beef. What do you call a dead chicken? Chicken. What do you call dead? Birds,
Enough
poultry.
references. Just get to it already.
Human is long pig.
Oh, okay. I've heard that
Yeah.
before.
So if you are butchering a human being, it's long pig.
All right, but here's the thing. No, actually, you're incorrect. It's close.
Well, cannibalism.
You want to be
That's
eaten.
eating.
Yeah. Well,
Long,
no, it's the
long
same
pig.
thing.
No, it's not. Long pig is somebody that actually wants to be consumed by another human being.
Oh my god.
Now, I'll tell you why. I'm going to explain a
What
little
a
bit as we
pig.
go along. So the
Lord.
show on idea is called The Case That Haunts Me. You guys need to look it up and check it out. Code, this was the code that they saw on the website because they have this whole underground scene for it. Code for
Scene
long
for
pig,
that
it
my
wants
God.
to be eaten. That's long pig. Chef is the cannibal. Iron Chef is a master cannibal. Now, you may ask what a master cannibal is. Would you ask what a master cannibal is?
Oh, I
Would
probably
you
wouldn't
would
ask
you please
him.
ask me
Who
what a
are
master
these
cannibal is?
people?
What's a master cannibal?
Eric, what's a master cannibal?
What happened to
A master
missionary?
cannibal is
Doggy style.
the cannibal can get a promotion by no, I'm serious. This is not funny. You're not supposed to be. You're not supposed
It
to laugh
kinda
about
is.
eating people. The Iron
so
Chef
funny.
becomes an Iron Chef through promotion from another cannibal.
Right.
Is it about like
And-
how
and-
they cook
and wait,
them?
and wait, here's how it works. Hold on, wait. Here's how it works.
Real quick.
All you have to do is feed the other cannibal.
What?
Hand feed them the food.
Eric, this sounds like a board game. This doesn't
Dude, this
sound
is-
like
this
how
is-
humans
What
interact
What kind of
with
board
each
game
other.
do you play, Joy?
gotta say
Listen,
something.
Wake Up Daddy is a
Zach,
board game.
you're sitting
This
next
could
to
be a
her,
board
remember
game.
that.
I'm in
I
between.
want to hear this shit.
Can hide the
I'm gonna
phone
say
number.
I have to say this. I have
All
to
right.
say this. Okay, I'm gonna give you all a little like sneak peek of when we finally do white people stuff, and I want you to know this is gonna be my first topic because
Oh wait,
this is
no.
white people stuff.
You are actually incorrect, sir.
No,
You are
whatever
so
you say,
incorrect.
does media long pig.
There's a guy. Wait a minute. One of the most
As a white
notorious.
person,
Hey,
I
I'm just gonna tell you. Typically, this would be white people stuff, but I'm just gonna tell you right now. There's a very well-known cannibal that was a black man.
That's because when black people do stuff, we good at it.
No, it's because
So
our
we do
something
version
we
of a
commit.
barbecue.
How are you
is
good at it?
this.
He got
We
caught.
commit.
He got caught.
We commit.
How is it good?
We commit.
So who's the
Now,
Gordon
thing
Ramsay
is,
of this
Well,
shit?
just
but
how
the
good
thing
do
is,
you have
let's
to
look
be
at
to be a
ratio.
cannibal? I can
Let's
just
look
start
at
chewing on Zach's
ratio.
arm right now.
Let's look at
Don't do that at all.
ratio.
I just.
If you had to look up all of them, you'd probably have that dude and another black dude.
The thing
And then
is-
you'd
You
have
got
a whole
like
lot
This
Bobby
is like-
Flay and like Iron Chef Morimoto.
This is like
of the
50
cannibal world.
Shades of Squee.
Right. So you feed another Iron Chef, and that's how you get promoted.
Oh my God.
One man, and this was an actual guy that had kind of become an informant for the police. And this was over in like the UK, and it's big in Switzerland of all places. I guess they're different over there. We
Well,
talked
they're not
about
busy killing each
Midsommar.
other,
Have
so
you seen
they're easy
Midsommar?
eating each other.
Listen, all they do is make cheese.
You saw Midsommar, right?
and I'm
So
an expert
Yeah.
in Swiss people.
Midsommar is exactly an example of kind of the earthy thing with Sweden. Anyway, one man said he wanted to be eaten because he has been suicidal and he wanted to die when he had depression. He reached out to the Cannibal Network because he thought that if someone ate him, he would feel like he had value by feeding another human being and to help assist the cannibals in their lust for human meat.
Question.
Wait,
color was
I
he?
guarantee if you just trace
was
the root
very
of
white.
all of this, it's just insane clown posse.
Why don't you
That's all
just,
it
if that's the case, if you want to feel like helpful and it could add to your self-worth, you don't have to die. Just lop off an arm or something.
Next to, no, watch like next to the, this is
No,
gonna
look.
sound horrible.
The
but
thing
next
is,
to
he
the
wanted
Hold on,
suicide-
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
This
We
is-
have to we have to individual.
Oh,
there you
wait.
go.
Sorry.
You're good. You were talking. Go ahead.
I was. Oh, yes. No, I mean, I don't know. Like, when I think about, like, in those moments when I feel like in my deepest, darkest moments, I don't
You
think
are not
about,
getting tender right now, Joy.
No, it's not that. It's that I don't think about, like,
Turn up the grill.
I
think I need-
often picture myself in Sweden, and I
when my Meemaw told me that I would feed a lot of people.
meatball. I love that.
I didn't think it would
Did
be.
you really have a meatball?
No, I didn't call her Meemaw. It's like Memaw Sarah. Anyway.
Oh, memo.
No, but when I think about dying, like my first thought is not like how I can be the most humanitarian about it. It's
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. This is just a very funny thing to me that they have like an organized little friend group.
It's a
and they're all
whole-
going to decide how
Hold
they're
up,
going to
there
eat
is a
each
thing,
other.
though.
It's
It's
just
a whole website. It's a whole
hilarious.
Okay.
This could be a Broadway musical,
You were
guys.
talking about. You said when you think
Hungry,
about dying,
the
you don't
musical.
think about how you can die in a humanitarian way. But also a thing
Well,
that
besides
I
being
feel
made
like,
into a tree, obviously, but like when I'm like, I
Hold
really
up.
think my friend should make me into a hamburger.
Okay, please finish
That's
so
not.
I can talk.
Okay, I'm fine. Sorry.
My bad. I didn't
Go
know I was
ahead.
interrupting you.
Go on.
Okay, the thing is, you skipped
the
over
power
a
of
whole
Zach's hat.
portion. You skipped over a whole portion of what Eric was saying.
Uh-huh.
Eric said the man was suicidal. He wasn't just sitting up, death.
Okay.
He was suicidal. He
Yes.
wanted to die. But
Yes.
he wanted to die
Delicious.
and actually be helpful, at least in some points in his life that he could refer back to. Well,
That's literally
he
what I
did.
was just
But the
saying.
thing is, no, you said when you think about that, you don't think about it in a humanitarian way. So the thing is, he wanted to die, and when people who are suicidal, they all have their own past and what makes them suicidal.
Right.
So everybody's mind worked different. He had different things on his mind. Like we all have.
How do I
mean,
feed
people
my
have
friends
committed-
with my dead body?
That's the thing. That wasn't why he wanted to commit suicide or
No.
anything. That was just a thing that came to his mind to be helpful in his death.
So
Most
yeah,
people
Demont.
want to be cremated. I guess he
People
wanted
have
to be
jumped. A
made
girl
into
jumped in front of a
burrito.
truck because her transgender problems. An NFL star killed himself because his son had disabilities that he couldn't.
Are you
he
going
felt
to
he couldn't
compare
live
that
with.
to like an orgy of
No, the thing
cannibals?
is, it's like we can all say, oh man, I have a child who has a disability and I can barely keep up with it. I'm not gonna kill myself. The thing is, we're all different people and we handle things different way.
Well, yes.
It's not
but-
just suicide. I'm sad. I'm gonna kill myself.
So basically, what
You're
what-
being very close. Like you're
Over
closing
about-
it
I'm
in.
being closed-minded because
I didn't
like
say you were closed-minded. I'm saying you're putting the whole thing in a box. Like it's
she's
not.
just trying to make sense
kind
of
of
it
like
because
Gwyneth
it's,
Paltrow's head was in a box.
yes. What's
just-
in the box?
It's just it's,
Great reference,
I
Joy.
bet they enjoyed that.
We
one.
like
It's-
that
it's,
one.
It's like a byproduct of
Thank
his death,
you.
basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Regardless of what happens to him in the end of the
And-
story or
Men have
whatever.
killed
Exactly.
themselves because their wife cheated, and that made them feel like less of a man, like they weren't doing the right thing. So that brought them down, and it's like, so the different motivations for suicide can make
I'm not
you
talking
change.
about that. I'm talking about post to that, like
Yeah.
making yourself into a sandwich for
I
your
see what
friends
both
to
you
eat
guys
you
are saying.
after
No, the thing is,
committing
like, say the
suicide.
man who wanted to kill himself because he felt like less of a man for his wife.
Oh, of course,
The way
like,
he
yeah.
might have. What if he was like, in the way that I'm going to die, I'm going to make sure I do this thing, get this certain kind of insurance, so that I
that
could at
sandwich
least
looks
say
yummy.
in my last moments I was helpful to my wife. I
My
gave
brain
her
You think
can
it would be
feed my
acceptable to
family
put
for 4
condiments
weeks
on
if
on
they just
humans?
keep
I don't
it
know.
in the
I just
freezer.
don't. Any suicide,
Yes,
I
they
don't
do,
care if a
actually.
man
I
kills
wonder.
himself because he fucking messed up his nail.
Gotta admit, this is a little bit of a tricky, like
It's
this
just
is
Yeah.
not
something
really
that's,
a normal
that's what I'm
It is
saying.
a very
It's tricky.
weird-
That's why you
yeah.
have to be completely open about it. It shouldn't be in any kind of container.
For me,
It
I
should
look
just
for
in
like the
universe.
humor and everything. It's not that I'm
No,
not
I
taking
do.
it
Trust me,
seriously.
they know I do. If I
It's
didn't, I
just-
wouldn't be at this table.
It's just this is so bizarre. It's like
Okay.
It's not that bizarre because Jesus did it.
All right,
Did
I'm
he?
taking back.
Brandon.
I'm taking back control of the show. That's kind of how it works.
Go ahead.
So here's what we're gonna say. It is like what Joy was doing. Joy was trying to make sense of it because it's so ridiculous, and that's exactly why I told my wife. I said, "Babe, there's a show on ID you gotta watch." I said it's called The Case That Haunts Me, and she's like, "Oh yeah, what is it?" And I said, "It's this case about this guy that put himself out on the internet to be eaten by other cannibals."
Sorry.
And she goes, "Why would I want to watch that?" I'm like, you like investigation discovery? He goes, yeah, people eating people. Nah, not my thing. I'm good. So she walked back to the bedroom. She was like so flabbergasted that I would even think. And I'm like, for a second, I was like, what is wrong with me? Like that I would think my wife.
Right.
Yeah. So I do tell my wife sometimes. I've said this to before. I tell my wife, when you're watching ID, you're watching ID, they give you lots of techniques for killing people. Like there's like everything on the Mac. So I told her one time.
Is it like the 4chan of TV shows?
It is. It is. I guess if you're sick like me, it is. But my whole thing was, I told her one time. I said, look, before you poison me with antifreeze or shoot me in my sleep, just tell me to leave, and I'll go stay somewhere else. I said, don't kill me. That's got to be terrible to be living with somebody and to get poisoned little by little with arsenic or something. It's got to be.
But
That happens
that's one
constantly,
thing that
though.
sucks so much. That's like a pride thing. Like I know some people, like especially married couples, who won't even like divorce or ask for a separation or
But
anything.
yet
know
they'll
me
kill their
so well.
freaking spouse.
Because
Yeah.
of the fact that that's the thing. That's where it's so crazy. Where I talk about the
Like-
human mind. They won't do that because they're like, how is that gonna look on me? I mean, my ex-wife
Right.
literally had to, instead of just divorcing me, she made up a whole story saying
Yeah,
that I
you-
attempted to murder her.
She had
so
to go to
that
jail
so that
for
when
it.
we went to
It's
court,
crazy.
she could be the
Are
victim.
you
And she was
serious?
married a month after I signed the papers.
Oh
she
my
was remarried. Now the thing
God.
is, I'm saying like the pride thing is a big thing. Literally now, every girl I've talked to since
Yeah.
my divorce, I go into the relationship. When I first talk to and flirt with them in the bar, and we get
Yeah.
to that point where we got each other's numbers and everything, I tell them, hey,
Thank you, sir.
if you don't want to be with me, just fucking come out and say that stuff now. Like I don't want to play
Right.
no games. I'm
Yeah.
real, whatever. Just say that stuff now. We can end it. I'm not trying to be. You ain't gonna hurt my feelings. Whatever. I'm probably gonna talk to your friend over there. She been looking at me. It don't matter. But the thing is, I just feel like
Damon's
people,
dating tips.
people sometimes are just big, prideful pussies.
Well, when you've been through what he's been through, those are some pretty
And it makes you.
practical
It
things.
He
makes
makes
you
all that up
angry.
for sympathy.
It
That's
makes
all
you,
made
it
up
makes
for
you
sympathy.
Right.
angry.
Well, I bet
Yeah.
you had a lost, like you've lost probably like a ton. But how's cussing on here? No.
This is an R-rated
You're
show.
allowed.
We don't
You're
give a
allowed.
fuck.
Okay. You've
Sex,
lost a
go.
fuck ton
noise,
of
noise.
respect, probably, or not respect, but trust in like
No, yeah, I don't.
women,
I don't
probably.
trust.
Like you probably don't even trust me, and that's not even saying like that's okay because like of what you've been
Who
through.
does trust you?
I don't
Find
know
me
if
the
he does.
one that
No, I
trusts
kind of,
you.
at a point in my life, I see women
But I
as
get
like
that.
people who present themselves.
I'm
as
actually.
a victim.
I'll
Got
be
it.
honest,
They
guys.
present themselves
Yeah.
as a victim in order to get their way. and
I'm
there's a lot
feeling a lot of connection between the two. Not like
Yeah.
that. Not like that.
No,
You're not
But
say
like,
it so quick.
I
Like,
think
damn.
I know, right?
Lead into
You
it for
see how
hour two,
quick-
bro.
You see how quick that
You know
went?
what's interesting?
She was like,
No,
no.
No, but here's
I don't
the-
mean connection like
Like,
physical.
damn.
Right.
I mean like you guys obviously have some things
It's
to talk
called
about.
empathy, Eric. You know,
Empathy?
it's called empathy. It's called me recognizing he's been through something horrible. You know, we're normalized like now.
Kumbaya, my
No,
love.
but I'm telling you, especially nowadays, you know, especially with the Johnny Depp situation that's happened with Amber Heard.
Oh,
like,
fuck her. She needs to be fired.
Well, she
Oh my
actually did get
gosh.
fired from Aquaman too. She's
It's
not
just
doing
saying,
that
can we
anymore.
all admit that if she was a male, even while this stuff was in court, she would have been gone?
Yep,
We
it's
know
true.
that.
My
It wouldn't
brother
have lasted this
actually,
long. It wouldn't have went to a point where we had to be like, fire her or I'm
Yeah.
not going to this movie. She would have been gone the second accusation came out.
But I bet a lot of women dismiss you because they feel like you know, are a victim in some way. Like I bet that's
Nah,
probably happened.
he gets laid
before.
all the time.
Well, no, I bet that like, I bet it's hard for
Yeah,
you.
you did too.
No.
No,
All right.
especially around here, I bet that's kind of hard that people don't want to believe you've been through something like that. You know what I mean? To where they want to believe that like women are always.
So speaking
telling
of
the
things that feel safe.
truth. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, great. Sorry.
Yeah, we got to. I love for you guys to like do
I'm
your
sorry,
own
we
little,
keep catching
do your
on
own
to a
little
topic.
sideshow. That's what I'm saying. You guys need to have a
No, it's just
conversation.
because like we've never like
Yeah, I
I've talked
know.
to these two.
I
I've
know.
never, you know.
I'm gonna keep that in mind and make sure and try
There we
to
go.
keep it
Yeah.
from happening again.
There we go. So you're watching Session Stream Live from Shakers Bar Downtown Cape. We are going to be on several podcasts. We figured out last week, Demond and I did, that we can't just put a video file on Spotify.
Yeah, no, you got to convert it.
You got to convert it. So I've got to find a converter. Does anybody
Well,
know?
it's interesting.
I'm paid for it,
Joe Rogan
Peg.
just signed the what was like $100 million
Yeah, for
deal
Spotify.
with Spotify. So and I would imagine that's like they'll probably take away
Fuck Joe.
the YouTube platform
Yeah.
for him to
Yeah,
do
they
that.
are.
So that probably means that Spotify is eventually going to get
Yeah.
video like in the next year.
I would
Sounds like
imagine.
it seems like it's just hurting them to make you have to go through the conversion
Yeah,
process.
yeah.
It's like, why not just make it available?
Well,
pretty
they're the new
strict.
MySpace. They're the new what was the big music service back like 10 years ago?
Oh,
It was-
Napster?
Napster was big.
Pure
Oh,
volume
I
was a
don't-
big.
I-
Spotify
downloaded
was a
stuff
little
off of
baby
Napster.
for a while, and then
Yeah.
it got real popular, and now they're super popular. So moving on, Zach, I want to go to you on this one because because this is kind of along the lines of stuff we talked about. Zach and I have had some pretty good kind of back and forth on Facebook. Very respectful, just like Dimitri. Zach does not agree with a lot of my views, which is cool, and I don't agree with a lot of his views.
Zach.
But we share we share a lot of the same goals, which is to find an answer and find solutions. And so that's why I asked him to come on the show, because there was actually one thing in particular that we kind of had a back and forth on, and so we'll talk about that later. But I wanted to go to you on this. So Subaru had a recent ad bragging about feeding 50 million people, and I'm just going to tell you right now, it's bullshit, and I'll tell you why. They advertise, and this is what bothers me about corporate America. They take advantage of the sorrow of people and people starving, and so they advertise like they are heroes during this time, like people aren't starving before COVID. And now they decided it was a good time to boast about feeding folks. Why not feed 50 million all the time? Or is that just you capitalizing on a pandemic? Unless you think people just now started starving. Either way, the ad is BS, pander to sound charitable. Now, I'm going to go to you about this because you're very in tune with social issues. That ad itself, have you seen it?
I have not. I do not watch television, to be honest with you.
Good for you. You're too busy making music.
Not that cool. Most of the time, but I mean, honestly, I think that television is kind of like every facet of it is kind of it's geared to such an audience that realistically, a commercial is made the same way that a television show. Like this commercial is going to come on after this television show to grab this certain type of person's like what they're looking at
during a certain time frame.
Exactly. And I mean, you're only going to see this commercial for a while. I mean, you might see one every day, you know, like those progressive insurance commercials or something like that. But like things like that are like primetime commercials where they're pushing it in your face because they want praise as a corporation, when realistically corporations, in my eyes, are extremely detrimental to just the human condition as a whole.
Yeah.
Can a corporation, though, a big company like Subaru and any other big company like that, can that company actually, do they gain any market share? Do they gain any actual respect from people, or are people tired of it?
I mean, the story that they fed 50 million people, if it is true, is admirable. I mean, who would not feed 50 million people if they had the ability to do that?
Right,
you know
but if they have the ability to do that, why wouldn't they set up a program prior to COVID, when COVID becomes a pandemic and people are out of work and not eating? Why wouldn't they do that prior to it? Why come in after COVID? Obviously, people need it during COVID, but a lot of these people, when you see the people that were affected most by COVID, it was poor, it was older people, it was immune compromised. Many of those people are not upper class as far as money goes.
Sure.
They're great, they're amazing people, some of them salt of the earth, but my whole thing about the ad was it felt like a pander to me. It felt like they were telling us, look what we did for you in America, so buy a freaking Subaru.
Yeah,
and I'm
that's all they
sorry,
want.
if you can't afford to buy a sandwich, you can't buy a freaking Subaru.
Yeah, I mean,
it pisses me off.
Well, they're not pandering to the poor people. They're pandering to the rich people and be like, hey, look what we
Help
did.
support
Yeah.
us, we're doing good things.
And that's
Yeah,
my
so give us money.
biggest issue is I don't know that most corporate ads
I
are
think-
speaking to the regular day.
No,
they're
they're
talking
not.
to big
But here's the thing,
donors
like
and
corporate
stuff.
ads work in numbers. Like that's the biggest thing. That's the most important thing. And like it's not the fact that they fed people. It's the fact that it was 50 million, and that number is going to stick
Crazy.
in people's heads. You know what I mean?
It also
it
doesn't matter if it's true or not.
Right, it really
very
doesn't
true.
because the number
Deep state.
50. Because see, you remember like 50 million.
That's our new-
that's a
our new
number.
cheers,
That's
deep
big.
state.
You know what I mean? Like cheers.
Deep
Cheers.
state.
Deep state.
Deep state's the
Deep
word.
state. Deep state.
Are you
Deep state.
drinking Mountain Dew tonight? You're not drinking?
Oh,
Drinking?
I hadn't eaten, so I was gonna eat my sandwich, and then I don't drink if I haven't eaten.
I got you.
Zach says deep state equals blame shakers. That was from earlier. But
Hashtag
Oh, I do want to comment. I think both of you guys' theories is correct, but like with the fusion,
Ha.
fusion, But the way I look at it is, you're absolutely right. I think it's 100% a pandering.
Yeah.
But I think it's 100% necessary, and like because at the same time, I feel like while we're currently giving crap to these people for this amazing thing they've done, when you think about it, it is an amazing thing, and it's also a risk because they might not get that money back, even though that money was definitely pure profit.
People do
They're not
a
gonna
lot of it. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm bad about
She
interrupting.
stopped.
I
Go ahead.
recognize
Go
it.
ahead.
So
Go
I'm
Just cut her
messing.
mic
I know,
real quick.
I know. It's fine. I'm not offended.
All right, go ahead, Damon. Go ahead.
thing that I think we also need to look at while we're looking at them for saying, you did this great thing, now you're telling us about it to get sales. We also got to look at the fact that they could do that great thing and they did it this time, and there's still companies out there that could do that same great thing but just aren't doing it.
So go ahead, Joy. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, sorry, I interrupt. Like I'm one of
You're good, sweetie.
5
You're-
kids,
I
so
really
I'm always
do.
like, I have an
You're
idea.
one of 5 kids.
I know. I always had to like
At the dinner
like,
table.
Make sure I got.
You're gonna
heard.
eat that last 8 pieces of food?
No, it's like I have 2 words to say, and I'm gonna freaking get them in there. Okay, but I was gonna say like.
Little
people-
Joy wants to talk.
Little me wants to talk. Let me do it. People can do great things for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Like, look how much. Who was it? Was it Al Capone or somebody? You've had mafia bosses win people over with like doing pure
Yeah.
charitable acts
Yeah.
simply to elevate themselves as like a hero to the people, while they were also doing really, really horrible
I
things.
mean, that's one of the bases of The Godfather.
Right.
Well,
so what
Frank-
I'm saying is like just because this corporation gave did not mean that they did it with the right motive.
In
they
The
did
Godfather
it
2,
for
you see
terrible
him gain that
reasons. Like
position.
it was still greed motivated. You know what I mean?
So what was the guy in American Gangster? Denzel played him.
I haven't
He
seen
took
them.
Good
over.
old
He took over for
Denzel.
Bumpy. Anyway, that's a prime example.
Mm-hmm.
What Frank would do. Frank, I bet Zach knows. The last name of the guy on American Gangster with Denzel Washington. He became the nation's biggest heroin dealer.
Yeah.
And took over for Bumpy something. Anyways, in New York
Mm-hmm.
in Harlem. So what you're talking about is true. What he would do is charitable, and he would go out.
Lucas.
Frank Lucas. Frank Lucas is actually a real guy. The story's amazing. American Gangster is amazing. I'm not going to do any big, huge spoilers, but I will say this: there was a couple scenes in the movie, and then basically in life, he would go to Harlem and he'd hand out turkeys to everybody. He'd just have a trunk full of turkeys,
Because he knew if he had the support of
Yeah.
the people, he
Yeah.
was invincible.
and that is,
Well, I wouldn't
and
touch
nobody
him.
turned him in his neighborhood. He shot a
Exactly.
guy in broad daylight. And there's a scene in
Right.
the movie where he does that, and he didn't get turned in. So I think my thing about this is this is why corporate America has been compared to The Godfather and gangsters for so long, is because corporate America is just nicer about it. They put a prettier face on things and they advertise and market.
You want to talk about thugs? Let's talk about corporate America. You know?
Yeah, and here's the thing. This is what you might find ironic in all of this. As much as you know that I support Trump and you do not, but what you might find ironic is I'm also a guy that believes in fuck Wall Street.
Sure.
I hate Wall Street.
I don't think that those are two things that are mutually exclusive. Like
Right,
it's
that
not,
you
it's
can
not
do
the fact
both.
that you can like Donald Trump just
Yeah.
like you can like any other person of interest in the world, and
You're
you
a
can
person
also
of interest. I like you.
Thank you. But with the, like.
You're one black mask and a backpack away from being Antifa.
I figured
Oh my
someone
God,
would tell
you're
me
gonna-
that on the way
you're
here.
gonna get
What
harassed
the
on the
fuck
street.
did
I
you
was
just?
just looking.
It's
I
gonna
was
happen.
just you carry the
You
look.
look suspicious,
No.
Zach.
Shit, no, he
In front of
did.
the subway.
I'm sorry, Zach.
It's fine. No, it's fine.
Damn.
look
It's
like
true.
the-
It's
no,
I gotta get the fuck out of
What
here.
is going on
No,
here?
please
I've lost
understand.
total
I want-
control.
Hold
Lock
up.
the doors,
I want
Zach.
people to understand. You look like the guy in the video I saw where the man confronted
That was breaking the
Antifa
glass,
dude.
and he chased him down. He said,
So
"We're not doing that
that's
today."
really that's really why I said that.
I'll say, we're gonna actually get- we're actually-
He looks like the guy.
What's
so
funny-
please don't
So
say it.
stupid.
What's funny is
everybody
we're-
through a fit,
We're
sitting in their pants.
eat your sandwich. We're
That
joking.
guy was an idiot.
Shove some
first of all.
shove
Just
some
an
more food in
idiot.
there. We're
Yeah.
joking with you.
So I think
Arr!
I think any person of interest that like you can endorse them as a person or what they believe in, but you don't necessarily have to be you don't have to think about what they do and be okay with it, because
Right.
if that were the case, I feel like personally no one would want to be involved or carry Donald Trump's like
No.
torch, so to
Right.
speak, to other people who don't know anything about him. And that's pretty much where I feel like most of his voting base, just personally, I feel like that's where most of his voting base, it's all word of mouth type stuff
But-
from people in these backwoods, like small
Okay,
communities.
see,
I don't
and
say
there,
backwoods, 'cause
yeah,
that's
because I gotta call you on that. So here's my thing, and this is what we're gonna get into more this later, but I want to go ahead and broach it now. What I want, and I want to get more clear on it, but I want everybody to understand something. The worst thing that anybody can do that doesn't want Donald Trump to get elected is to think that his support base, the people that support him, are backwoods or dumb or stupid.
Not always. There's a lot of rich people in California that really are.
No,
like,
I know,
really
but that's what I'm
hard.
saying. I'm not saying
Yeah.
you did that.
Here's
I'm just
what I
saying
mean
Hillary
whenever I say
Clinton.
that. I
Hillary
don't-
Clinton lost a perfect campaign that she should have never lost to a man that was a reality star.
Arguably perfect, in my opinion. I feel like there were a lot of
Well,
things
no,
that she
I'm
did
just saying
in the couple years
she
before
was the
that
chosen
kind of
one
seemed
at
like-
that
Not a lot of
moment.
people liked her.
She was
even
Khaleesi.
where I was at.
Nobody liked her. I would say a
Yeah.
lot of people didn't like her, but I will say this: it was her time. She really was. That's how she felt.
It was
this
the
is my
closest
turn.
she'll get, in my
yeah.
opinion.
Well,
Yeah.
she'll never be
But,
back.
Yeah, she'll never
but
do it
with,
again.
with that being said, though,
Michelle
whenever I
Obama.
say like a backwoods small town or something, I don't mean physicality, because you can be from, the smallest town. You can be from Poe, Missouri.
Like a backwoods mentality is what
Literally.
we're talking
I
Yeah,
about.
but,
Yeah,
but that would be
sure.
like me, for example.
That's like a Trojan horse, is what he's trying to say.
I get that, but we got to be careful when, for example, because you want anything other than Donald Trump. My thing is that's true, correct? You don't want.
I just
say,
don't
that's
want.
what I hate,
I don't
though.
want anybody.
When you
that's-
just know you don't like
It's
this
not
person.
him as a person. It's everything that he believes in and puts in
Okay.
front of
I
people's
don't know. If there was
Let
faces.
me-
like a
let
lizard
me-
in office, they may not do
Let
such
me
a good job.
let me ask you
Yeah,
this
I really
then.
don't think they would.
Since
Yeah.
we're here now, we'll go ahead and stay here until we get to the next subject. Give me just a couple of things that he puts in front of people, like you just described, and I know you were emotional about it. And Trump does elicit a lot of emotion from people. Just being real, he elicits a
good at
lot
it.
of passion.
Sure.
That's his shtick. That's why he became a billionaire off a loan from his dad and putting his name on buildings.
Small loan of $1 million.
Who else gets a small? Never mind. Go ahead.
So let me ask you, give me a couple things, Zach, that Trump puts out there, like you said, in front of people that just turns your stomach or that just turns you off. What something?
The entire audio of the behind-the-scenes footage with the initial thing that everyone's
Okay.
talking about, the grab him by the pussy stuff.
Okay,
like,
so let's
stuff like that.
Let's go to that. I want to ask you about
Sure.
that. All right. So you realize, and I'm just asking you. I'm not going to
follow up
say
with
you're. Yeah, of course. You're in a music scene. We're not going to say why or what, but you are involved. You write music. You're a talented guy, right? I'm sure you've been in some gig somewhere, some bar somewhere, something where guys are having what they say guy talk is, right?
Sure.
And to pretend that guy talk doesn't happen is a fallacy. It's stupid. It's silly because guys talk like that. Now maybe you don't. I've never heard you talk like that.
Right.
You're kind of a shining example of probably how to talk as a male.
You kick those dudes out your friend group when you hear them talk like that?
I mean, I think that not every guy talks like that, and like you can hold them to a standard personally, but a lot of the times when you're in a big, like in a venue and there's a lot of other bands and stuff happening, like you really don't go off and branch off. You might know like a couple guys in this band or something like that, but you're never just in one place. Like it's not a locker room, you know what I mean?
So with Trump, when Trump says in an interview, and that was with what's his name?
Bobby Bush.
Bobby Bush, one of the Bush boys. He said in private.
Or Billy Bush.
Billy Bush.
Whatever
He
the
said
fuck
in
it is.
private.
I was like,
Grab
who
it.
is
Billy,
that?
case-
Bobby, whatever the
I was like, who
fuck.
that?
He don't have a
Big
career
Bush
anymore,
was
so
involved.
In
And say,
case
yeah.
people
It's
are
funny that
unaware
that
of
killed
what
him more than
happened,
it did.
he was on a bus
we should talk
during
about that
the
too.
Miss America
it's
pageant.
important.
He owns Miss America, or he did own Miss America.
Of course he does.
He had to sign it over. And he is a spoiled billionaire child. This is who he is. This is what he is. He's been a millionaire since he was a kid. So my question to you is, when you talk about that issue, and if that's the one that really kind of set the precedent for how you feel about him as what he says, right? And I get it. So that did a lot for people when that came
I mean,
out.
that's not particularly the only example, you know. Like there's things that he did all the way back into the 70s. You really didn't even hear about again until he started running for office. But that's every politician. I understand that.
But here's the thing. What did he do in the 70s?
The Nixon administration investigated his casino in Las Vegas for not hiring black people. Like,
But here's the thing. You say that,
he
but
the hiring
yet,
manager
but
at
yet
that
he
casino?
has.
he owns the casino.
That doesn't.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean
But if
The
anything.
thing is,
Yeah.
I was the manager
That's
of
a very
seven,
good
I was
point.
the district manager of 7 Boost Moles across Missouri and Kentucky.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I never hired a hiring manager, but except in 2 of my stores, I had hiring managers. Otherwise, I went down to those stores and hired those people. The owner of that company had no say in what I paid them, and well, they did if they jumped in, but they just found out who I hired after they were hired. They found out how much they was paid after I told them how much they was getting paid.
Right, so-
the thing is, so if I was to fuck up and be like, you know what, I don't want to hire Mexicans at this store, until that city blows it up or that person in that store blows it up, how long is it gonna take to get to that owner?
Well, see,
And the thing is, if the owner is like, hey, don't, if the owner jumps in and is like, hey, don't hire this kind of people, and the person doesn't hire that kind of people, then okay, the owner and everybody else involved needs to jump in. I mean, needs to be accused. Everyone's saying everyone who watched the
So
George
basically,
Floyd
everyone
thing who
who's
didn't
covering
do anything
exactly
needs
if
to go
you're
to jail
if you're not
too.
saying anything, you're on a
Why not apply it to
So the
everything?
other half of
and
this-
you're kind of implying that we're talking about things that were done in the dark or whatever. You're kind of implying that, okay, you have no secrets, you have nothing that you wouldn't just tell the camera right now.
I mean, yeah, everybody has secrets, but I also those secrets
I
are
mean
not what
secrets
I'm
as in,
doing at my
like, dark
job.
things.
You know what I'm saying? Or like that hold people's like entire well-being in the palm of their hand. Basically, not only was he not hiring black people, the few that they did hire were
The
instructed.
casino, don't say
No,
he
no, no, no.
wasn't.
Because here's the thing:
casino wasn't.
the casino employees were told to put the black employees at the back of the casino, away
That's
from
a
the
higher
cage.
up order. Like,
No,
Away
that's
from
He
the
does
okay.
manage the
Specifically
casinos,
when
yeah.
Donald Trump came in the casino.
But
Yeah.
here's my thing, and here's what we do
and
on
they
this.
do that in Vegas. Like they will do those orders. Like they just when people will come in, like they do that and they don't have a choice.
Here's
like,
what we do on this show. Okay, you've leveled a something that I wasn't aware of. I didn't know about this story. So you said it was from back in the 70s.
I have something as well.
I,
I'd like
I
to
add.
honestly have to say, you gotta check. I know you probably read. You gotta get detailed because I don't believe that Trump had his casino in the 70s. You have to look.
Dude, I mean, he was a property manager.
No, he didn't actually. I don't think he opened his first Atlantic City place.
70s, 80s, 90s. Like to me, it's.
I know, but you said 70s, so we got to be
Sure.
specific
Okay,
because
Donald-
we're saying an actual thing that you're saying that he did.
Okay, I mean,
No,
I
it's just on the
understand
show
what
that
you're
gets a lot of slack.
I get you, but
Yeah.
I also
We can cut that
feel
slack
like it's
by
kind of a semantics
accurate.
point
My
because
thing is, like, yeah,
if it
No, but
happens,
it's just for the people who watch.
It's just for people watching. We try to be
if they want
very
to look it up
accurate on it.
and
Because we talk about
potentially
some
see
stuff
what I'm
that can make
talking
some people
about.
angry.
Yeah.
So if don't give them any ammo is all we're saying.
That- yeah,
He's
that's
not
all-
cutting on you like, oh,
No.
you're wrong.
Yeah.
Ha
But
I got
the point
you.
is
It's
that
like, don't
he
give
did
haters
it,
ammo.
regardless of whether it
But
was
no,
in the 70s
that's the thing
or
is we
not.
don't know, and I'd have to see this. And
So
that's
you'd have to see the article, or yeah.
well, not just the article.
Or
Here's,
whatever,
here-
some
here's
kind
the
of proof.
here's the
Yeah, yeah,
issue,
yeah.
right? If this is the stuff,
the
and this is
tricky
my whole
part, you
point.
know? Like-
This is this. It is tricky,
can
but this is
fix
why.
it.
With a casino, it's not just manager, district manager, Trump. It could be like.
if they had to sign,
so
like, an
many.
NDA?
You
Yeah,
guys
as
realize,
well,
you
you
guys
know?
realize, and I'm going to address this to you, Zach. You do realize that Trump doesn't own casinos. You know that, right?
I mean, his
No,
name,
no, no.
his name is
He
carried
sells
on the
his
top
name,
of
bro.
properties.
He sells his name.
Sure, but if you
He
if
doesn't
you had a
actually
bar that was
own.
called Eric's
No, that's
Bar,
actually.
and you
That's
had
all he
somebody in
does.
there
I've
with
been to
a,
Vegas before a few
He
times.
doesn't
Like,
manage
does,
any-
Like he does.
he doesn't-
Have
you know
the,
Mar-a-Lago?
like, authority
Sure.
in a lot
He
of
doesn't own Mar-a-Lago.
With
He
a
doesn't
lot
have
of
his name on
businesses
it.
in
Okay,
Vegas,
and that's
it's
completely
kinda
He
like
doesn't have
how
anything to do with the
share.
day-to-day
He has a lot
operations
of
of the
final
business.
say.
So-
10,
Yeah.
10, 10, all the rest was me.
But he
People
does
will call
have
me
some of the
owner.
say. Like he's
No.
not
No,
like
that's the
powerless.
thing. That's what
you
I'm
know?
saying. You
Okay,
gotta say.
so now can
But-
you say that maybe Trump has people in his employ that don't make the right decisions and do stupid things? You could say that, but to say that Trump didn't hire minorities or people of color is kind of a misstatement because Trump didn't do the hiring in his casinos. He had nothing
we don't
to do
know
with
that.
it. No,
and so
we
we
do.
don't know it either way, realistically.
You think that Trump is actually an owner at a casino, that he actually is there every day and does the day to
I mean,
day?
you don't have to be there every day to be the owner, first of all. And also,
Well,
if this place was called Eric's Bar and you had someone in here that was acting, it's the same as when Dave had mixing. If Dave was away and somebody was here and they were treating people poorly or
Okay, so
unequal,
you can get Trump for his lack of hiring ability, who he put in charge.
I feel
If
like I
you-
can get him for the core values, that
Especially
he
like
does
not paying his
Well,
contractors
if
to
your
build his
name is
casinos.
attached to something and there is
Did you
racist
pull that up?
stuff.
No, I'm
Pull that
working
up.
on it.
Okay.
If there is racist stuff happening and it's something where your name is attached to, that would bother me as a business owner.
So are you saying
Even if,
because
like-
somebody doesn't hire minorities, they're racist?
No, I'm saying because he's apparently, like, if this is true, it's alleged right now.
Right.
But if he pulls it up and it is true, and he said to put minorities in the back of the casino, as it were, that is concerning. Why? Why not be, like, amongst everyone else? You know
But
what I
he
mean?
didn't say Trump said to do it. He just said that the black employees were told this
Where did they get the order from?
from their supervisors.
Who's their supervisor? Like, where did the supervisor get the order
I know,
from?
that's what I'm
you
saying.
know?
This is the points we have to make
Yeah.
clear because we're leveling a complaint against Donald Trump.
Right.
He's saying
But
that
we have to
Donald
prove
Trump
it
in the
happened.
70s, we have to have all of our ducks in. This is the whole point.
Yeah.
On this show, and this is why Damon's on the show, and this is what his point is. On this show, we are very clear about what is fact and what
Right.
is fiction.
Yes.
If it's fiction or we heard something, we go, I heard
Okay.
this about such and such. But if we're going to give an actual level complaint against someone, especially like the President of the United States, we like to be clear.
Right.
There's a lot of things I could say about Obama based on facts that I have.
Right.
And I say this is what was recorded.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to also realize when we are talking about facts, we have to be very cognizant of the fact of who is delivering our facts.
This is true.
And,
Like, if
and
it's-
we have to be the own arbiter of our own facts. We have to go out and find the stuff. We
Right.
can't go by a Vox or a HuffPost or even a Fox News report.
But this
We have
is-
to look deep into the deep state. We have to look deep into the well.
But mine is like, suppose it is true. Suppose.
But see, why would you do suppose on racism?
I mean,
Because
You
it's-
can't do
it's-
suppose
At the same
because that way I could say suppose you're a racist and you'd be like, why would you say that? I'm like,
I'm
well,
talking,
Joy,
it's just because of this. It's this topic, like this particular
I
topic.
get it, but we can't. And this is the whole thing that he's talking about.
Okay, you're saying suppose it's true, but how are you behaving? You're not behaving as if suppose it's
You're-
true.
you're behaving like it's true.
As if you're not behaving as if okay, if it was true, then he would be this way. You're behaving in a manner as like I'm going to say suppose it's true so that I can say what
But
I
you didn't
want.
even hear what I was
But-
going to say
No,
afterwards.
but I'm looking at your behavior so far.
Okay.
I mean, will you not agree with me?
I agree, Damon. I think honestly, what we have to be careful. This is why.
It's just I've said things.
I was
though
about
I'm
to
a Trump
introduce a
supporter-
hypothetical scenario. Like, if he so happened to give it, like, is that if he happened to say minorities like in the back of the room, like, would you want to be associated with an employer who would give orders like that? That's what I was going to say.
Nobody
Even
would.
if he didn't give the direct order.
Nobody would.
Right.
Nobody would. So
And
that's
then-
my
but
point.
There's also
So-
the
That's my
fact
point.
that-
But her
You
also-
actually. Go ahead.
Her other point is that who do you hold accountable? If it's not the
Right, if it's not
supervisor,
Trump
if it's
who
not your
did
direct
it.
manager, then it's the supervisor.
Right.
If it's
Yeah.
not the supervisor, then it's the shift leader or whatever, and then it gets to the owner or the CFO
Okay,
because they're always the ones that get
if
blasted
Trump-
on Twitter.
You're right, but if Trump,
So why is it any different with
if
him?
Trump is leasing his name out, right?
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
yeah, but it's if he's leasing his name, you have to make
He
sure
should
first
have
of all.
control over it.
Well, no, it's not true. He sells his name for marketing purposes. He puts his name on casinos so they can say it's a Trump casino. Trump doesn't even freaking know. All he knows is his name went on something he made $10 million.
So eventually,
There's
if he
also the
sells it, like, he's
accountability.
done with it.
No,
yeah.
there's
Yeah,
also the
exactly.
accountability. I have to say, I love Trump, but there's things I've
Yeah.
told you. I've always been
Accountability.
open and tried to like diss and love any side, whether I'm favorite to it or not. The thing is, I will say, if there is something and you can make millions off putting your name on it, you obtain accountability for what. No, you're not accountable. Like you didn't make the decisions, but you should be aware of what you should be aware of what's going on.
it's a casino,
to know
man.
to like remove.
I
or
agree with
remove
that.
Your name
You
from
don't
that,
ha- he
remove
doesn't
your
have that
association.
authority.
But then there's the fact
He
that
doesn't have that
but then
authority.
there's also the fact that okay, if I'm not going to have authority over what's going to, well, not authority, but be aware to remove it when I please. I should do some investing and make sure that this is a place that I can trust to keep my name in a good state.
Yeah, but see, here we go with trust. In the 70s and 80s,
Yeah, I
as
know,
Zach
like
brought
I'm saying
up,
it's fucked up.
it was
So,
way different.
I found
okay,
this one that's
first, where's it from?
it's from Vox.
Yeah, you can't do Fox,
Why,
man.
no, why can't you though?
Because Vox has been established as a fake news site
Is
by
it?
by many different places. Yes.
By who?
It's just like HuffPost.
Is HuffPost a fake news site, or do they?
Yes,
just
it's a fake
say
news
people-
site, just
Wait,
like Fox
HuffPost
News is
is-
fake. Fox News is fake too. They tilt their reporting towards their readers, so they're going to report on something, a case. What I'm saying is, find me some newspaper articles from back then
Okay.
that actually say this happened,
No disrespect
not by
right
a
here,
late
but you
Fox.
have to be realistic about your resources and where you can find these things. You're not going to be able to go in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, go and find a newspaper article.
Will you look up
from-
newspaper articles from 1970s? From
I got
Atlantic
one
City?
right here.
Thank you.
So Atlantic City, Taj Mahal.
This is from then.
Sure.
This is probably the casino that he's
And
actually
I-
talking
and
about.
Whether and I want you. It may back up what he's saying. That's why I want to find the truth
So,
on it.
this is
'cause I want
all
to
I-
see.
Well, also it says here that he never paid his contractors who built it for him either. So
there you go.
Right.
again,
He's not the
he's
only rich guy that
dodging.
doesn't pay
But the
people.
thing
He's
is-
dodging his bills as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, but he's not the only rich people that does it. Like seriously, guys.
Just I mean,
we're
to
getting
be honest,
when we
you're
talk
right,
about
yeah.
semantics, right? We talk about
Okay,
semantics,
yes.
right? if you want to talk about, he's a billionaire. If you go to Jeff Bezos and you look up his history, I guarantee there's a few employees that didn't get paid the way they thought they should have.
Right, but if you're going to
Probably.
run for president of the United States, you'd kind of want your ducks in a row. You wouldn't want to escape
Really?
You would
prosecution
think.
a few times. Like that would put you in hot
Which
water.
president had their ducks in a
We've
row?
never had a president.
We really,
We'd never
you
have a
know,
president.
We have, yeah.
So
we
what I'm
haven't had,
saying, the bottom line to this is, the truth is yes, Trump has lots of issues. We're not going to say he doesn't.
right.
Did he know something about this or have something to do with it? Is it possible? Sure. Is it also possible that stories were misinterpreted and neglect? Because if you look at the history of Donald Trump, until he ran for president, there's not one instance, and you can look this up, of anybody calling him racist. Not one.
The U.S. Department of Justice under the Nixon administration, out of all administrations, sued the Trump Management Corporation for violating the Fair Housing Act. Federal officials found evidence that Trump had refused to rent to black tenants and lied to black applicants about whether apartments were available, among other accusations.
But
Trump said
Eric-
the federal government was trying to get him to rent to welfare recipients specifically. In the aftermath, he signed an agreement in 1975 agreeing not to discriminate to renters of color without admitting to discriminating before.
So he didn't rent to
Eric-
welfare recipients?
Eric, can I respond to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, and in junior high or high school, I actually believe it was freshman year of high school, probably way before then. I'm probably just going or whatever. But when you first, if you all remember, when you first hear the story about Martin Luther King Jr., they, or at least when I learned about it,
I know where you're going.
They started off about him in the backyard with his best friend who was a Caucasian boy, and his mom comes out and tells the boy to come in and tells Michael that he has to go home. Now, Michael was friends with this boy all his life. He said that they were best friends and he knew him even until adulthood and all that. But the mom, who had no prior, in a time of racism, had no prior acts of racism towards Michael or his family, then was like, okay, this is the point, we're cutting this off. The thing is, I do think we have to acknowledge, and I'm not making an excuse, because I think you should stand up to injustice and take what comes to you before you give in to injustice. So I'm not making excuses. I just hate when people ignore the times for their own sensibilities or whatever. The thing is, especially in the time you're implying, 70s, that's literally the civil rights movement, okay? Now, his mom separated him and Michael because she was literally afraid of being one of those white people involved with black people.
Right.
And the thing is, especially in those times, white people would totally refuse a community if it was infected. Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, hey, in the 30s and 40s, they got Irish men and Chinese men to do it as well. So what I'm saying is, we do have to acknowledge the fact that, like, okay, there was an influence. And please understand, I'm not making an excuse, because like I said, you should stand up to any injustice, even if you become a martyr. But the thing is, like, we do have to acknowledge we're all human.
So
Absolutely.
So let's do this.
And see, like, I feel like it's just like, no matter what, well, he should have done this. He should have done this. And it's like, we're all human.
Right,
I fucked up
But you
on some
can't-
racist topics as well. And
Okay.
half of my family
You
is
can't
white.
assume
But here's
what
the
people are
difference. You're
about
not
to
running
say
for
before they
president. You're
say
not
it.
president.
Don't assume.
You can't. You've assumed a lot about what I'm going to say before
No.
I've said it. So like,
I'm not saying you specifically.
Okay, but
I'm
you
not
did
saying- I
earlier.
Yeah, I did.
Right.
He's
But like
right.
I said, I was
Yeah.
referring to the previous behavior. I
Yeah.
was referring to the previous.
So-
I said, because I got you before you finished, because I wanted to let you know with what you're saying. Okay, think about where we're at from what we've seen.
So let me ask you this.
So you just
Zach,
misunderstood what I was
so
saying.
we can
and
finish.
I'm sorry if I didn't word it
I'm
right.
not like mad or anything.
No,
I'm
that's
just
the thing.
saying.
Like,
No, exactly.
like he knows. Like, I'm not the one who gets mad or angry at the table. I often try to keep it at an unbiased state, because honestly, like, I just feel like I've seen some fucked up shit. I've seen racism in my
Right.
family. I was divorced because of racism. This shit hits me, and I was just like, I'm not gonna let that shit infect me. But at the same time, I'm gonna be real about it.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
why I'm the one doing the white people shit. Like, it's like, it's
To add balance
So-
to the
Like,
situation.
fuck it. Like,
Yeah.
So we're gonna get Zach to finish up, right?
Right.
I will admit and say this straight out. I'm not going to deny that there's some truth to what you're saying, and the fact that there's probably a lot of questionable things about Trump in his past. I'm not going to deny that at all. But let me ask you this: is it possible that Trump can be a good president and still have all those things in his past? Because if we go to each president, right? Like for Obama, do you know anything about Obama's history?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, as far as
See,
like,
now here's my point.
okay, but not. It's not like as if I don't understand the bad things that he's done because of
Well, I look into
his
Obama.
history.
You liked
you know?
Obama.
Right, so here's
No,
the
that's
thing.
not. But that's not
I think
true.
it's
But
more
no, no,
about
but
what
no,
Trump
no, no.
is doing
no,
now.
hold on.
Oh,
Here,
sorry.
but this is the point.
Yeah.
This is the point. You went back to the 70s and 80s to find stuff about Trump, right? And you did the 2005 thing about grab her by the pussy.
Mm-hmm.
My whole point in this is every president that comes up has stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Did this happen with Obama? Did you go back to 1970s and look up Obama's past?
No, because what it meant for, in my opinion, culture is more.
Why? Because he was black?
No, not for Obama, but for Donald Trump. To what it meant to the.
No, I'm serious. You
The
would
worst
ask-
shit they found was that he smoked weed in
No,
college.
it is
He's
not.
not
You
even
obviously.
president right now.
First
He's
of
not
all,
even
first
in
of all,
the
no,
hot seat.
no. We're not going to say
Like-
incorrect things. I'm going to be honest with you. You have not read his book. You have not read his book. I read Obama's book. You need to read
Our
it.
biased behavior. He was referring like, so did this happen with someone you like?
Sure.
Like,
That's the
Obama's
problem is.
blown up brown children. Like he's done some shit.
No,
He's
it's
killed
not
tons of
that.
people.
You guys
Oh,
don't
he sure
understand.
has. Like, it's not about
Obama's
being
past.
biased.
Obama's past. You need to look into it. You guys are glossing over it because it doesn't fit your narrative. That's my point.
I don't
you
have
guys
a
don't like.
narrative. I'm
But you
interested
guys
in
don't like
facts.
Trump. You don't like what he says or who he is.
'Cause he's the
you have to
current
look
president.
at. It doesn't matter. Your point is that Donald Trump past makes difference for who he is as
It's
a
about
president.
who he is in the present.
Yeah,
it has
currently
nothing to do with his
also, in
past.
his
You're
past
excusing.
and
You're
Can I-
excusing it. Is
can
what
I
the
say
problem
this?
is.
Can I say
Excusing it,
this?
it's-
Can I say that like, even though like I see what you're saying. Like
Yeah.
you said, I don't have a narrative. I'm interested in facts. I just want to acknowledge that like I do. I'm not saying you're not like a fact checker. Like you're
Right.
not just interested in facts. But when we get down to the core of us as humans, when we see two sides, two opinions, we do have a favorite.
Absolutely.
Whether we 100% push things towards that favorite,
Right.
there's an innate action in us to lean towards that, to kind of like favor things to go that way and push more towards finding things out to help.
Did
things
you
go
vote
that
for
way.
Obama?
So I'm not saying you have a.
You didn't?
I
Did
did
you
not.
vote at all?
No, I didn't.
So I don't want to say
Neither
you have a
time. I was old enough,
narrative,
but I did not
but I
vote.
do want to say you do have a preferred victor.
But do you know why that is? It's because Donald Trump, if he even displayed one moment of humanity, I would totally be
Oh,
like,
we got to
so
run down.
facts, He's
Oh.
never displayed a moment of
not
humanity.
really.
Oh my
just
God!
like-
You know how charitable that guy is.
Like-
He doesn't even take a paycheck, Joy.
The dude just
He
teared
gives
out
us-
a bunch of people
A
to go
lot
in
of
He
front of
gives
the
his
church.
paycheck to
No,
disabled
that's funny.
veterans. He gives
That's
he
funny.
gives us $400,000
Who- did
paycheck
he-
to
okay,
disabled vets.
But also, like, look at everything that he has done aside from that. Like, he's like,
We
But
just
see,
know
no
it's
way,
all
The
Joy,
dude's
Joy,
a text,
Joy.
like, this
You
is
can't say
not-
aside. We pointed out a charitable thing they did, and you're like aside from that.
okay,
No,
just
address
and
it.
aside, like earlier, we said just because someone did a charitable thing does not make them a good person. Like,
We
No,
were
I
just
didn't
talking
say
about
that.
Subaru.
I didn't say
yes,
that.
we were.
We were.
I didn't say
literally
just because they do a
talking
good thing
about
doesn't
that.
make them a good person.
Okay,
That is
just
not my
because Donald
words.
Trump
No,
has
he
done
was
one
talking-
good thing
That was
does
not my
make
words
him
at
a
all.
good
You
guy.
twisted it. It's not what I said.
Well, but we were talking about that earlier.
I said corporate greed.
Okay.
We're talking about individuals.
But then we also address like mafia bosses and things like that who have known to be like to do horrible things, who have done charitable acts. It doesn't
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
necessarily make them a good guy. Trump,
Exactly.
right? But Trump,
So is
like
that what
more
we're doing
often
with Trump
than
now
not,
is-
It's the same standard. You can't say that it's a different standard. It's the
I'm
exact
not-
same
it's
argument.
not the same. Here's the thing.
I mean, honestly-
Here's the thing. The point of the matter is when I ask about Obama, you didn't even vote for Obama.
I did not.
You didn't vote at all.
did not.
So you didn't look into his past at all. So did you vote for Trump?
No.
You didn't vote for him. Why? Because you looked into his past and you looked up his stuff.
Because I looked at him as a person and the principles.
Why didn't you vote in the Obama's elections, two of them?
To be honest with you, I feel like the most divisive thing about Donald Trump is that he gets people to vote.
That's
I
the
feel like
most
a lot of
divisive
times-
thing about Trump is he
I
gets
feel
people
like
He
to
a lot
vote.
does.
of
He
that-
mobilizes his base. He mobilizes everybody who
What's
hates him.
divisive about that?
Because
I feel like
there's
a lot of times
Just
splitting.
compared to other people who wouldn't
That's,
vote.
that's
It's
illogical.
divisive.
That's illogical, guys. You
When
can't
people-
say his most divisive thing is he gets people to the voting booth.
Yeah,
I
he
think it's
instills
Wait,
opinions.
am I
Really?
in? I'm in fucking.
He gets
crazy
people
land.
fired up.
Hold up.
Yeah,
Well, how
that's
is
the
that
thing.
divisive?
When people
Because
do
they're
go
getting
out
fired
and
up-
vote,
they're
people
getting
don't
fired
go
up in
out
two
and
different
vote.
directions.
A lot of times people
No,
don't go
Trump's-
out and vote
Trump's
to
direction
get
is one
the person
way.
They want in
But
office.
the people that don't agree to it
They
agree
see
with
the
them.
candidates and they acknowledge someone they don't like, and then they find the one they
You
like.
can like
and they just-
neither one, you know.
No,
you don't
that's what
have
I'm-
to be like
that's
left.
what I'm not saying
I
you
don't
can't.
really care for
That's true.
politicians.
That's true.
So like that kind of sucks that y'all are like,
can
you have
vote.
a
That's
narrative,
why-
and I was like, I don't actually like either
Well,
one of them.
you're defending a narrative is what we're saying. That's all we're saying.
Not
Hold
really.
up, hold
I'm
up. No, let's
pointing out
do this.
something.
No, let's do this.
Okay.
Because no, that's what you just did to me.
Right, because
So-
like you've kind of not been on my side the whole show,
No,
kind
I
of telling
think-
me
I
things
think-
I'm doing.
no, I
that
think-
He
I'm
was
not
never going to be on your
doing.
side, Joy.
No,
I know
he
he
wasn't.
wasn't.
He
I
wasn't.
think
I know
early
you
in the
weren't.
show. I think early in the show, you saw that I wasn't. I
You
didn't
don't know
agree with
me.
you. in
Like, but the
that's
thing
why I
is-
said I think.
No, he's making an
Okay.
observation what he thinks.
If you let
Right.
me finish, you
Yeah.
might hear me talk.
No, he doesn't know you, but he's trying to get
I
to
mean,
know
if
you.
we're just gonna be enemies, let's be enemies.
I'm not your enemy. Go ahead and talk.
So thank you. You so kind.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
The thing is, from the beginning, I didn't side with you in the beginning, and on the first comment that was said, and I'm sorry, I'm passionate about my points, and I go heavy with
It's
them. I'm not
okay.
gonna try to hold my blows back. I'm gonna go 100% in to try to make my point.
Yeah.
And the thing is, from that point on, you were bothered, and you didn't favor me or my opinions. I mean, you haven't.
One more. I'm good.
Have you fact checked with me? When I say something, do you ask me questions about how I reached that or anything, or do you just
No,
argue
because I
that
felt
point?
attacked. That's why.
See, that's the thing. That's
Right.
the thing. But you're only about facts.
Okay, so let's
But you
let's
feel attacked.
let me jump in here because I want to
No, you're
mediate.
about feelings.
I want to
Thank you.
mediate. Okay. Let's hold on.
Women.
Here's the point.
Oh,
Ooh,
buddy.
I did that literally to get a rise.
Yeah,
I did
I know
that
you
literally
did.
to get a
Okay,
rise.
because we still
She
like the
hates me
joke,
more
right?
now.
We
It
like
went
the
up
joke.
like 3
Actually,
So-
don't hate you. You've been through a lot, and you're projecting onto me.
So
I
here,
get it.
I'm
here's
projecting?
here's the thing. Hold on. Here's the thing.
I'm sorry. I just have a certificate
Here-
BA in psychology and everything, and I didn't know. I
The
was-
point of the matter is, whoever you favor, whatever meets your standards of agreement, is what you lean towards. You were defending a point of view that was counter to what he believed in and what he thought, so he countered you and said something. What we can't do as people is we cannot sit here and because somebody questions or has a point of view, we can't just not agree with them and then think that they're attacking us. And this is the one thing I wanted to point out is he's not attacking anybody.
When you finish,
Yeah.
I have something really quick.
I
I've already
really
summed it
don't
up. It's
feel
really-
attacked
So-
because we're both passionate.
It's really quick.
But
so
the
I'm gonna
point
say
the
when you
point
done.
is Zach and I just had it going back and forth. I don't feel that Zach attacked me. I don't think that you feel I attacked you. We both feel very strongly about Trump. I will completely agree with Zach that he has questionable morals of the utmost. I don't deny that at all. He's a skeezy pig. I've said he's a goomba, skeezy pig. But can he do the job as a president? And if before COVID came along, everything seemed to be humming right along.
I'm just disappointed in the fact that he bunkered himself down, like instead
He
of
didn't.
stepping up.
He was
Why'd he
he was
turn the
standing in
lights
front of a
off?
church with a Bible saying, this church means something, and everybody's
But-
like.
He also
he's bunkering
gassed
down.
everybody to clear that
Yeah,
photo
but,
out.
like, why
So
did he turn the White House lights off when people were protesting?
Where are you
in
getting
front
your
of it?
facts from?
I
First of
watched
all-
the news,
First of
bro.
all, Joe Rogan reject. Who are you supporting in the next election? Because you told Zach you were conservative. Now you sound like a
Look,
mealy-mouthed
man,
Bernie supporter.
I'm seeing a whole lot of shit that just should not be.
Be decisive. Quit being a contrarian, man. Pick a side. Do
Okay.
something.
I just
I'm
wanna
walking
say
the
that
middle
You have
line,
to
bud.
Pick a side.
Canada.
You
wanna
can
say
just
this.
speak
Canada.
for
This is the new
yourself.
Matt Lawler.
Eric,
Sorry,
I want to say
whatever.
this.
You gotta sometimes.
No.
Or else you fucking.
Gotta
In the
figure
first
something out.
episode
Dive
I
into
was
the
on the
abyss.
show, I
Yeah.
told you that I'm very picky about my words because
Right,
I
right.
hate when I'm
Yeah,
misinterpreted.
yeah.
So I want to clear something up, and
Awesome.
I don't think you heard me or just understood me correctly.
Okay.
Because you said I wasn't when I said I was on your side about
Just
the whole
because I
narrative.
felt attacked doesn't
Hold on,
mean I
let
was.
him
Sorry, go
finish.
ahead.
Yeah,
Go.
you can't dominate conversation by overtalk. You got to let him finish.
I'm not trying to dominate.
It's frustrating. No, but you have to realize people are watching. They cannot hear anything you're saying because what they hear is when you guys do that, and we did it
Right.
all show. So here's what we need to do the rest of the
Go
show.
ahead.
This has not been an issue until this show.
We might need a walk or a talking stick.
No, what we need is everybody to let their finish. But I will say to you, Damon, and to be fair, you got to kind of pull it back. You got to cut off a little, like because you're kind of running on.
No, that's why I said
gotta let
that's
her
why I
jump
said
in.
I already put it together
Okay, all right.
so that
all
I
right,
can get in
all
and
right.
get out.
Go ahead and finish your thing. Sorry.
When it comes to the whole narrative thing, you said that I wasn't on your side when I was. I said I was talking to the audience and it was about a comment you made, so I was looking at you. That's why I was saying I don't think, and because I told you I don't think you have a narrative. But I said I just think we all should acknowledge as people. So I'm talking to the table and people that when we do hear two opinions, we lean a certain way. That's what I said,
is
and I don't
true,
get
yeah.
how you felt like that was me saying, "Oh no, you have a narrative, you're wrong." Like that's what I don't get because I'm very precise about my words, and everyone knows I fought against Eric, Brandon,
Yeah.
Zach, every guest we've had.
He argues with everybody.
Because I try to
Yeah.
be completely open. So to feel like you look at me as just like someone who's like,
No, wait, it's just because like
funny to
I've never
me. It's 'cause
interacted
that's
with
not-
you before. You know what I mean? We're not comfortable with each other.
Then just keep that in mind
Well-
when
I
we're
do.
talking.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm, you know, it's.
Who is that? Oh,
You.
So let's move on to the next one. What we're doing here is exactly what we're trying to encourage everybody to do, which is sit around and find solutions. And sometimes there are no solutions. You know, I'm not going to convince Zach to vote for Trump. That's not my goal. My goal is to find out what I was very interested in you coming on for the main point of you have a lot of issues. I'm not going to say issues. That sounds wrong. You have a lot of considerations when it comes to Trump as far as his past and what he's done as a president, and it's interesting to hear those things. My main point is, and as we move on, but I want to get to this, but what I hear, and Damon's point is well taken. What we hear, and this is on the conservative side, or the right side, they say of things. If you want to
Yeah.
go right, left, conservative, this is why conservatives have a hard time with liberals, because conservatives, we don't talk by emotion. Like the emotion that we feel is towards facts, and then and conservatives feel like when you ride with facts, when you go, like when I said let's look up an article and let's find out what it's saying. Well, he looked it up and it came from whatever the paper was.
Shit, I can't
there's
even
there's
remember.
validity in that. The reason I don't value Vox, you need to do some research on Vox. That's the only reason I said that.
Say Fox, Eric.
It's not
No, it's
Fox.
Vox.
No,
Vox.
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 As in,
Yeah.
as in
Okay,
Vox
yeah,
Populi.
it's not from Fox.
So it's just like Fox News leans all the way.
Sure.
I can admit that, but this is my point. Conservatives, the conservatives that I kind of hang with, we don't have any problem admitting there's problems with Trump. We don't have any problem admitting that there's issues with certain things about things that we value. I don't have any problem with that. The problem that I have is when any issue is brought up to the other side, they get very defensive and don't want to admit, okay, well maybe we have some issues. They don't. They start attacking back.
It's a mirror. I mean,
I actually voted for Obama, and when the 2016 election started, I started off as a Hillary supporter.
So
I
Zach,
just try to do my best to, like, I grew up Democratic. I look at myself now as a Republican because of my current.
for
beliefs
lack
in
of
the
a
world
better
and my
title, of
age.
a party, and this is exactly. Damon and I agree on a lot of stuff. He also
It's
argues
just,
with me on stuff.
I don't really care what
But
color you
Republican
put
and
next to your
Democrat,
name,
we need to get rid of
what
all
you
that
say,
and just-
I don't care about it either. But what you do.
Yeah.
In comparison to what you say, because you can do shit, but if you said you was gonna do shit, then okay, you fucked up for doing
He's
that
about
shit.
results, and this
But
is where
Do what you say you're gonna do and do good
one thing
things.
you cannot say that Trump hasn't done is do things. He's done a lot, and when I say do things, I mean you can say what you want about the economy, and I agree. Not everybody agrees the economy is ticking along and great, especially if you're a Democrat. You don't want that narrative because that disproves what you're saying about Trump. Trump was supposed to. Here's a few things that were said on CNN, right? This is why we don't listen to CNN, and because Vox said the same stuff. They accused Trump. Trump was going to hit the nuclear button. He's going to blow somebody up. We can't put that in his hands. He was going to not only crash the economy, but put us into basically destitution. I don't know what the word was they used. But basically, he was the Armageddon president. That's what they basically called him.
Which
But-
one? Obama?
No, Trump.
I
Trump.
mean, with the way things are going now, he might as well be.
Yeah, but do you remember during Obama's term how many riots and
Oh, yeah.
BLM was
There was,
born
but,
during
like, it was the
Obama?
same
This is
thing,
different, Derek, because
basically-
we're dealing with a global pandemic on top of all this
Yeah, but
other
that
shit
has
going
nothing to do
on.
with Trump. Didn't start a pandemic.
No, he didn't. But I'm saying
But you
right
can't-
now
but you
he's
just
under
said.
like heavy scrutiny.
Right, which
because
makes-
of all this
which-
stuff, and look at how he's handling it.
Well, he's handling it pretty
He's
well.
hiding.
So I
He's
I
literally
agree with
bunkering
you.
down.
He's
Like,
hiding? Where's he
he's
hiding?
being a little
I
pussy.
he just gave a speech today in public. What do you mean he's hiding?
Congratulations, he did the bare minimum. That's not being a
What
president.
do you want him to do?
Not be a pussy and
No,
come
no,
out of
no.
the White House?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Denounce
That's
what's going
that's
on.
Not, that's what I'm saying.
Say
Denounce
something.
what?
Like, literally
Denounce
do
a pandemic?
anything.
A pandemic?
No,
Doing
no.
the bare minimum
Talking
is
about the
not-
riots.
Look, this is what bothers me about people that you are actually leaning left. So you know, you're actually defending the leftists.
I'm not defending.
No,
I'm
you
just
are.
saying,
You're defending the fact that,
Just because
that
I'm
Trump
not
is hiding
singing
like
Trump's
a pussy.
praises does
It's
not
not about
mean
singing his
that I
praises.
approve,
Have
like,
facts.
left.
You're talking about emotions. You're saying he's
Just
being
'cause
a
I'm a
he's
woman
being
does
a
not-
no.
Thank
There you
you.
go with the woman and the don't attack me.
I'm
stuff.
gonna-
He is
I told
not.
you I said that as a
This
joke.
is a
It's
I'ma
deep
jump in.
topic.
on the show all the time.
I'm gonna jump
No,
in.
he
I've been
said that.
quiet for like the whole show,
No,
so
no,
I'm gonna jump
I'm
in.
gonna finish.
Okay.
I'm gonna finish what I'm saying, or I'll cut the feed off
Thank
because
you
I'm gonna
for
finish what I'm saying.
Okay.
What we're not doing is we're not going to do the show with somebody saying Trump's a pussy hiding. Give me facts.
So in my
No, give me facts that he's a pussy hiding.
Because the White House had the lights off and he was not like engaging with any of the
How do you?
protesters.
Where was he? You don't know what he was
He said
doing.
he was
Exactly,
inspecting
though,
the
in my
bunkers.
opinion.
That's what he said he was doing.
So
The
maybe
point
he
is,
was inspecting
he wasn't
bunkers.
There. He wasn't in. He wasn't
Really?
there for the people. He was.
We needed
not
a leader and he
confronting the
wasn't there.
If the
problem.
guy
I don't
that doesn't
have to,
put his
like-
name on
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
his hotel is inspecting the bunker,
Yeah.
I'll fucking give everyone at the table here $100. I
Mm.
mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
You're going
him
on
as
what
a
you
person-
think is going on. That's
as
the
a-
problem. You don't know.
My opinion is that he should have immediately, when this shit broke out
What
with riots,
shit?
the riots.
He said literally 10 minutes after it happened, Brandon, he said, this is not acceptable.
Address the
It was a
nation.
tragedy that this gentleman was killed.
He tweeted!
10 minutes.
He tweeted.
You
Why?
don't even know if he's tweeting, fuckwad.
Why is he tweeting?
He's not tweeting.
just called him a
He
fuckwad.
tweets all the time.
Can't say that.
Address the
you
fucking
said,
nation.
you
Say
said,
something.
you said he didn't say shit. He came out on a news report and said 10 minutes after the event, this is unacceptable. Cops should not treat people like this. Look it up. Don't say he didn't say shit.
Show me.
10 minutes.
Show me, please, because I haven't seen it.
So it's like,
I don't like people saying shit that you don't even know.
No, I said it's my opinion that I feel like he could have done a better
No,
job.
you said. You didn't say your opinion, bro. You did not say your opinion. You clearly said he should have led on this.
I literally
And I
started
said,
by.
how is he not leading? You said, well, he should have come right out and said it's not good or it's bad or whatever you said.
Yeah, I
He
said that's
did.
my opinion.
He said those exact words, but when I say you, he said, show me. Okay.
Please, show me.
There's reports. Oh my
Are
God,
we sure
dude.
Zach is in here?
Dude, I
Show
can't
me.
believe you're making me show you.
No, I gotta know
Trump-
because I obviously I'm not
Trump
educated on it.
condemning death
Apparently,
in.
if I'm not educated on it, please educate me.
I feel
We
like
usually
it's
don't
one of
sound
those
like this till the
comment.
last 30 minutes.
All I'm saying
We're
is
like
that
really
look,
fast forward.
look,
feel like it's
the whole
awful.
situation sucks, and it should have
No,
never blown up this
everyone-
much.
All of us have such
But
long,
Passionate.
different opinions. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the whole reason for the show, dude.
No, yeah, but like,
Yeah.
it's just, we have a
It's
lot to talk
okay
about right
because
now.
I feel like at the end we'll all respect
we
each
What do you
all
want?
know
other.
Trump
it's
spoke
okay.
to George
Yeah.
Floyd.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Trump
we all
says
know
George
it's
Floyd
okay.
should have been
Yeah.
killed. Like how many?
guys love each other.
So
I haven't seen this.
Okay, so you need to look it up.
Okay.
Okay, so we're clear on something. You can't see
raising
this,
voices.
but no, but this is
No, that's
true.
what I'm saying. It's
Here's
just-
my thing.
I don't
No,
know.
I'm just
Look,
letting her know, like,
if you
guys
have
are
a-
like,
Yeah, oh, I'm not mad.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
hell
we're not gonna
I
fight.
love- I love
no,
Brandon.
that's what I was
No.
saying. Like,
He has-
I was
look.
no, it was just passion.
Right.
And I will say this to everybody who listens. I was even talking to Eric about this last week. I delete my Facebook app until about a day before the show, and
hear
then I
that,
delete it
Zuckerberg?
again.
You hear
The
that,
reason
Zuckerberg?
that I do this is because half the shit that I read on Facebook is negative, meme, hateful shit,
All right, so
and I don't want to see it.
So on YouTube of all places, there are, I can't even count them how many there are, where he actually goes on camera, and you can watch him later. I'm not going to play it on the show.
Oh no, yeah, no.
Where he actually goes on, this is Global News Network, this is USA Today, this is Bloomberg, where he sits down. This was actually near, they were doing a pandemic update, but he actually sat down and he said, this is literally 10 minutes after, well, I'm sorry, 10 minutes is a little off. This is literally within hours of this happening. Once he heard about the report, he was informed about it. He wanted to call and find out, was this true? He wanted to get his details in a row. He came out and he said, he didn't say I condemn, but he basically, this is what he said. He said, I can't remember the actual, how he said it. You have to watch it. But
I'll
they
watch
asked
it.
him about it, and he said, it's a tragedy. That man should have never died. This is not basically how we do law enforcement. This is not how we're supposed to do things. And he came out and said that. So I don't want people, this is the thing about this show. I'm very careful about that because I do not want people walking away from the show going, oh, Trump didn't condemn something. My point is he did, and it's all over the fucking place. So just like Charlottesville, he was slow in Charlottesville. Very fucking slow.
Charlottesville, I
Yeah.
feel like is a little bit different because he said, oh yeah, there are some good people out there. How many of those people could be considered good people that were marching
Right.
with fucking torches in the middle of the night?
Okay.
They were neo-Nazis and white supremacists.
let's go back and watch the video on that. You need to do that too.
Sure.
Because if you watch the entire
was talking
video,
about
have you watched the
terrible
entire
match.
video?
For what video?
The video of the interview where he supposedly said there's good people on both sides.
Probably. I
You
mean, at
have
some
to-
point, absolutely. Probably.
You have to watch the entire interview, and the entire interview in the context it's given. He's not saying that the white supremacists are good
Did
people.
he condemn the white supremacists?
Yes, he did.
Did he?
Prior to saying
it was like
there
way
were good
later,
people on
but
both
yeah.
sides, he
mean,
said, "I
did
condemn
he
it."
condemn them when they were walking the
See,
streets?
we
You
went
know
this.
what I mean?
Well, here's the thing.
I mean, you can't always be on top
you,
of everything.
You can't listen. Not only that.
But, I
not
mean,
only
does
that.
it take you like several
to
days?
But
remember
listen,
is the
everybody has a right.
president.
Everybody
did
has
take
a right,
several days.
even though they're dumb. Everybody has a right to freedom of speech.
Sure, but did he not like criticize our past president for not being exactly on top of things the way that he is also not exactly on top of things?
And
Oh
every
yeah,
president
yeah,
does that.
everybody, yeah.
I will
Every-
But there is
also-
documentation of him
President
doing it
during
though,
the
which is
World
actually
Series
kind of
riots.
funny. The what now?
Why did
World
not the
Series.
president
So-
come out there and say, "Hey, all you white people, stop
So
putting
this-
over
This
is
cars
a
and turn
little
up
different than
and
the
turn up-"
World
No, I'm saying we can't be like, "Oh, there's a riot, president, send him out there." Like,
I mean, but
don't,
this is
don't
different.
say where
This
was
is
he on the
like-
streets.
Okay, so
no, I'm not- I'm
the
saying
World
where
Series
was
is
he?
a
What
sport.
was he
This
saying
is
about
like
it?
racism.
Okay.
This is a little
All
different
right.
than like the World Series.
No,
you
I'm,
know.
no, I
Also,
was
more than one
using that
city.
as
I know you
as
were.
a riot.
This
But
is.
the cause, I
me
guess,
see if I
is
can
like
look
a little
at
heavier
the
than
date.
like say.
Yeah, I'm just.
12:38 p.m.
And, but the thing is, more
This
damage
is
was done
literally
than
2
it
days
was.
after,
know.
well, a day after
Which is why
Charlottesville
people
happened.
riot, which is-
This is
know.
when he
World
condemns
War,
Charlottesville.
White people stopped sitting
Yeah,
when they had
so-
baseball games, baseball
Nobody.
games.
Okay, the ran the car into people.
Because people were happy there.
I don't-
We're mad a dude died. They're
I
happy their
still,
team won.
be honest with
So
you,
let's
that
just
ran the
take
car
it
into people
outside.
because I'm a conspiracy
Yeah.
guy.
The city on fire.
Stupid.
I'm saying right now,
Straight
you know he
through
killed a
skyscrapers.
white woman, right? Not a black person. He killed a white woman.
Because the team.
I
won.
mean,
He killed a white woman, dude.
but to me that doesn't matter because
Well,
it's
it-
about the cause
okay,
and it's
but-
about an
okay.
aggressor and an
I
idealism.
agree. I agree. A psychopath ran into a crowd of people, but the only person he killed was a white person. So for anybody to say it was racist, it may have been racist. He showed up to kill somebody, but he only killed a white person.
But
But
does
it's
it
not
matter
like he
whether
was
or
like,
not it was
you-
racially
you
motivated?
Well, we
It was
don't
still
know
a
that,
horrible
though.
Car into a
action.
group of
We
people.
don't
Like,
know that.
regard-
Maybe he targeted her.
He did run a
because
car into a group of
because she's
people.
I know,
Why
but,
does
but
whether
she's the
or
only
not
one
it's
that
racially
killed.
motivated matter? He freaking like ran over a person.
So
you
you're saying it
know?
doesn't matter the motivation of somebody to kill?
Because how
No,
do you
I'm
aim
saying
a
evil
car
is evil
at
is
one
evil.
person?
That's
whether
not
it's
how
like,
do you know he's not he doesn't have mental issues? So now we're gonna hit on people with mental issues?
I mean,
No, I know that's a slippery slope, Eric. Like I never said that.
What I'm
like,
saying is
people-
you don't listen. When people commit crimes, that's why they have a behavioral unit in the U.S. in the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They want to know why somebody did something.
Right.
These people, just like the theater shooter and people that go into schools and kill people, they want to know why they're doing this because some of these people come from very normal upbringings.
But has he been proven to have like mental issues whatsoever? Until
Yes, yes,
so he does.
yes.
He does.
He
Okay. So then that's
wouldn't you
something that
agree
we're-
that somebody
yeah.
runs a car into a crowd probably has something wrong with him in his head?
I mean, potentially, but there's also the type of person that I feel like has like a very like cold and calm character. A lot of the people that you were talking about on like shows like that ID shows, they operate in that manner specifically more
That's-
efficiently.
And that's sociopathic.
Sure, absolutely.
Right, and that's a diagnosed DSM social work diagnosis is sociopath.
Absolutely,
Okay.
but if they run a car into a crowd of people because they hear that they're supporting a thing that they don't agree with and
Mm-hmm.
they're also a sociopath, it doesn't make the fact that they ran a crowd into a car of people any better.
No,
Right,
or
like-
different.
like,
Right.
why
So
would
do
it-
you agree with that too about terrorism, right? If somebody runs into a crowd of people and
Most
it's a terrorist,
definitely.
Of course, it doesn't matter if you're
Yeah.
right. Like
Okay.
it does not matter if you.
it doesn't
run-
matter what religion they are, that
No,
they
that's
believe their
still
religion tells them to
terrorism.
do
But
it.
Does not
domestic
matter.
terrorism is absolutely real, and it's kind of embarrassing as a country that we don't really observe it like other countries observe us, not looking at that as a
Wait,
fact.
you're incorrect because we are this country alone, and I get I get a magazine from the Southern Poverty Law Center. So and they are not anywhere conservative at all. Southern that's owned by Morris Deeds is the main editor. It's a very liberal minded. So Southern Poverty Law Center puts out a magazine that I get. It's on controversial groups and gangs, and they talk about those issues that we're talking about in there. And to be honest with you, when you talk about the psychology of someone, there are there are many mental illnesses. I'm not excusing anybody that runs into a crowd, obviously, but to say that the only person in that crowd that actually got killed was a white person, and it was supposedly based on him targeting, like driving into a crowd. Did he want to kill black folks? Probably yes. but he only killed a white woman.
He got
So
lucky.
we can't. What we can't do is we can't presuppose what his plans were because we don't know.
all-
His
also
plan
can't-
was to harm, whether it was black,
That's
white,
exactly
Asian,
right.
it was to harm.
So it's not about race, right?
No,
doesn't-
because it was
that's still a bad
it was an
thing.
event.
Right. We're
You
not
know.
saying it's not a bad thing.
It is
I'm
an
saying
event that is
it was made.
uplifting racial politics to a
Can
degree.
I do want to say this. I want to say this. I think what you're saying is the same thing that goes back to what I was saying with MLK and his best friend's mom. I see what you're saying because it's kind of like that, like when a black man kind of joins a certain side, he's a, what's it called, Uncle Tom or whatever, and he kind of gets disbanded by the
Black community.
Sure.
So like when those white people were at that BLM protesting, it was kind of like, okay, you're with them now, F you too. You know, I do see what you're saying. And I just want to make sure like is that not
To
what
me,
you're
it's kind of like, it's more along the lines that he's trying to harm a movement and an idea that people hold rather than a specific person. There might be a
He
white
didn't have
person.
a person looking at
Right,
trying to
he
hit.
knows that those people are going to be there doing what they're doing and trying to speak about what's important to them, and he wants to destroy that. You know, obviously,
Yes.
he ran a fucking car into a group of people, man.
So,
like, it doesn't
Zach-
matter that the person who died is white because hindsight is 20/20.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So Zach, do you believe that Trump is a racist?
I mean, I feel like he.
Yes
he
or no?
has
Wait, that was
Yes
a
or
big
no?
jump. Why did we
that's
jump
a-
to Trump?
That's a really big,
We're
like,
talking
and
about
wide
that's how it
spectrum.
started, bro.
Oh.
That's what the whole
It all started by
conversation
Trump.
was based
Where
on.
you at,
Yeah.
bro?
Shit, I thought we were talking about BLM.
Go hang out with Zach. Wake
We're
up,
talking
wake
about,
up, homie.
Okay, Zach, we're talking
It
about
started
where Trump has been
with
during
Trump.
the BLM movement
So
and
is
if he
Trump
should've
racist?
done or said
Yes or
something
no?
about
I
certain
think that
things.
there's a really good, and
Yes.
I'm not just gonna say yes or
Yeah,
no.
but is
okay,
he?
yes, I think so.
Okay,
because-
now let's stop there. How is he racist?
Okay, great.
Okay, give me an example.
So, everything that everyone's talking about right now is that there is an amount of privilege that a white person has, even more so for the president, where he has the ability to sit in
You
the White
fucked up
House.
by saying that.
Yeah, you did. You just lost it.
Yeah.
You had it. You're not saying how Trump's a racist. You're trying to
Can I jump in here?
yeah, go ahead.
So I
Please,
think.
please explain to me because I
Well,
really don't
well,
see.
here's
When you bring
where.
privilege, you're saying more so of white
Yeah.
people and black people. instead
Yeah,
of
it's not
Trump
that.
and
Yeah, you
his
sound
mentality.
disingenuous. bro.
Here's
You
what
sound
I
We're just
think-
saying
disingenuous.
that's what I'm saying. I'm about
Yeah, you
the
sound
word.
disingenuous
Just
about
words
that.
That's your
where people
opinion.
can't take
No,
it
you
away.
sound disingenuous.
Well,
you sound like you're pandering to people.
I have nobody to impress here. I mean,
Okay,
well,
just
there's
what
12 people watching.
all we're
you know
saying
what
is say it to
You're
where
right.
it's-
There
I
is
can't
not.
get a
it
word
end
in
up, they,
anyway.
they end up getting the videos end up getting hundreds of views. People don't watch it as
Sure.
soon as it's on.
Absolutely,
But I'm
I
just saying, don't say I don't have anybody to talk to. There's only 12 viewers.
There's a lot of people
Well,
that do
what
watch.
I am
Watch
saying
my
though
boy.
is
No,
that I'm not trying to seem disingenuous because honestly I don't care. I'm here to state my opinion, talk to you guys about it, and that's it.
And the thing
if
is,
you don't believe me,
That's the
fuck off.
thing.
No, no,
I
no,
wasn't
no,
trying
we
to tell
be-
you
we
that.
believe
What I
you.
was
That's
trying
not
to
the
tell you
point,
is
man.
When it's my turn to talk,
what
I'll
we
be
think
back.
what we think might help. Because I'm trying to say what they're saying is basically when you tell why you believe Trump is racist, make sure that that's something that's going to be applied to Trump. People can't say, "Oh, well, you're just talking about white people now," or "You're just talking about black
No,
people now."
because I
make
feel like-
sure it's Trump's actions, it's Trump's
Okay,
motive.
and the reason why I say this is because I believe that he is a proponent of that mindset. I feel like when you're in such a
What
position
did
of
he
power,
say, dude? You got to give us an example of what he said that's a proponent of racism.
I was going to do that,
I know,
but
but
I feel
no,
like
you
I
went
literally
to
got cut off on word 5.
I know,
so.
dude. I know, but you said you went to white privilege. That you're doing that standard leftist argument.
that's what you believe that
No,
I do.
dude, that's what you said. I asked you if he's racist.
Well, I got
you
cut
said
off,
yes.
so pretty early.
No, don't talk in circles. What did he say? Like, tell me one thing he said that's racist.
It's the fact that he has not stood up for people.
Do you know-
He's like, oh yeah, that's terrible. You can literally, I can say
Inaction
that's
is the
terrible,
same
and
thing.
I've done the
at
same
this
thing.
What
that
do you
he's
mean
done.
stand
not
up for
always,
people?
But at this point,
Exactly, what
inaction
she's
is the
saying.
same thing as being the antagonist. You know what I mean? Also, I want to add, I've been looking through these comments, and everyone's like, "Quit talking over her. She can't get a word
sorry,
in."
Joey.
It's not you, but I also want to point out the fact that I've been accused of being emotional, yet I have not left the table one time. Both of you have.
You're
I
right.
left the
you've
table
got-
to get the beers.
Oh, they get beer. They get beer.
Yo, someone always gets up.
That
Did
he
I
doesn't
not
get.
come-
He doesn't get emotional. Trust me, that's
I
not
do
him.
appreciate
And Brandon
you,
left just
so-
because he wasn't able to talk in the group.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying is like I don't want to be accused of being emotional because I'm the woman, and I've sat my ass here the whole time listening to y'all.
Okay, so-
See, I get some. I deserve
Okay,
some
I just
credit.
want to acknowledge that when I
Anyway.
left the table,
She was getting a
It was
beer.
to
I already
get a
said
beer.
that.
Okay.
I said it. Joy, the emotional thing as far as like that claim was
Right.
because you weren't giving us facts. You were giving how you feel about something.
But that's why I'm here. We give our opinions, and we also give facts. Yes.
We're very, but
When
see,
we
that's
make
the
when you
point.
accuse
big,
someone of
broad
something,
statements.
Yeah,
that's
you-
facts.
when
But
you-
when did I
That's when it
accuse
when you-
anyone of anything?
you're
Well, I didn't
accusing-
accuse you because
when
we
you-
started off on the wrong foot, but that's
Yeah, I'm
fine.
just saying.
No, it's all good. But I'm saying when you listen, when you say somebody is racist,
Right.
I want to make this clear.
I
This,
feel they are, but it doesn't mean it's true.
okay, that's different. That's
Yeah.
feel is emotion.
I
That's
agree
my
with
point.
you, but
Okay.
like I thought that was.
So the point is, like what
Say
I'm getting
I
was,
believe. Don't like he's just saying. Don't say it as in you're letting the world know. like,
right.
this
What
is
I'm
the truth.
saying is, when I say
all.
Trump is not a racist, I
Mm-hmm.
can prove it by saying, show me where he is.
Okay.
And you guys are trying to make a point that Trump is racist. So I'm saying, if he is,
I mean, I wasn't
If-
really. I was saying how I've noticed like he's been handling the situation is not the best way that he could handle it. Because since he is
Okay.
the president,
Okay.
he should be stepping up more.
that's fair.
He should
but
be.
but let's say this: is it because you're saying he's mishandling it? But does that make him racist? Because he's not handling. Maybe
She
he's,
just
But I
said
never
no.
said that he was racist. Zach was the one that you were talking
We
to
should about
go
back
that,
to what
like-
you were going to say because
Yeah.
you were talking about that specifically, and I also cut you off.
All I was saying is that no, I don't think that he's being racist. I just think that he doesn't realize that this thing that's going on. He comes from a very specific background that a lot of people don't have any experience with. He came from money.
It was just a small $1 million.
It's
loan,
just a
bro.
small $1 million loan.
Right.
So it is very hard.
Tiny $1 million
So that being
loan.
said, the dude clearly doesn't know what it's like to have his boots on the ground, not know
Very-
to
very
struggle
true,
for
very
things,
true, very
and
true.
to have to fight for every little thing that they have.
so when we're
So that being said, no, I don't think he's being racist. I just think that he doesn't know,
so we've said this before on the show, Brandon. I completely agree with you.
and it's
You
fucked
have
up.
a valid point in how you feel about stuff and what you think about him as a person, as a president, whatever. I'm not saying you don't have valid feelings. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I don't like to call anybody a label of racist unless I have some real proof of it. Meaning, if I'm going to call him racist, he's got to do or say something that shows me he's racist. Like call him the N-word, I'd be like, you're a racist prick. Get the fuck out.
Sure.
That's
As he
racism.
should.
If he somehow treats him like shit for some reason or another, I'll defend him on and I'll kick him out. My point is with Trump is, here's the problem, is everybody says he's racist. Well, not everybody, that's incorrect. There's many on one side that say he's racist. Every time I ask them, how is he racist? Show me or tell me. They always do this thing that, and I'm not blaming you, I'm just saying this is what happens.
Right.
They tell this story about privilege and how, well, people just don't this and this. What I'm saying to you is, get in the phone and find me where he said something against black folks.
But see, it's not the
just having
words
fun
that
at
you're
this point.
saying.
It is or isn't, bro. He
I
is,
mean,
there is racist or he isn't.
there
bro.
are actions. Your policy.
His
in
actions
general.
of what? What has he done?
to-
Has he done something against a black man that's made him racist? What?
has he said
He
anything
did
in?
call all the protesters thugs while calling the Nazi.
He was talking about
protesters
Antifa too,
good
and Antifa, as you know, is 98% white folks.
Have you heard about COINTELPRO and Antifa?
Yep.
Have you heard about all of that? Did you?
Yep.
And all of that. What do you think about that?
Honestly, that's actually a good point.
Yeah, because I read about that the other day, and somebody said it was like really, really like not given accurately. There's this big thread about COINTELPRO and J. Edgar Hoover and Fred Thompson, and about basically how the Black Panthers were ultimately being spied upon and attacked and discriminated against from the get-go.
The Black
The
Panthers
Black
were.
Panthers were somewhat of a savior to the communities in which
Right.
they acted upon.
And since
And I
someone
want
said,
to just point out to our cast, our audience, all 12 of you,
10
that
right now.
right now,
Yeah, it's probably 7
the
or now.
conversation that is going on is being led by Joy. Please continue.
Well,
Someone just said, I've
he's-
been watching this video for 10 minutes and Joy has been discriminated for being a woman 3 times. I didn't say that. I didn't force her to say that.
I also don't know. What do you mean?
where's that at?
Whoever said that,
I'm
please
just over here
clarify on
minding
that,
my own
please.
business, drinking vodka
Who
sodas.
said you've been that?
Yeah, who said that
Amber
you've been
Vandeven.
Oh,
that you've been
Amber.
discriminated
Yeah.
against?
Yeah.
Amber's in a really good band. She's actually very talented.
She's really awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Are you saying I was like proposing?
No.
Okay, I thought you
No,
were looking at me, so I thought
she
you
got
were
it
saying
from
I
me
was-
and you.
Listen,
She got
I've
it from
got
me,
3
both of
brothers.
us.
I don't care. Like, I'm not gonna walk away from this butthurt. I'm just saying, it's just annoying how like everybody's like, you're too emotional, and I'm like, I'm just loud. You know?
Okay, it's not
the
just
same
you.
thing.
I think Zach was talking on emotion too, if it's
Right.
fair.
It
to
is
be fair.
fair,
I
because
think
I don't
he was
like
talking
being-
on emotion
yeah.
too, because when we say something about somebody being something, Like, if you call me a racist, you better show me damn.
I didn't call you racist.
No, I'm not saying you did. I'm giving an example of
He's
when we
talking about-
accuse
Yes.
someone
We're
of
talking
being
about
something.
somebody
Right, but there's
You-
been a
you-
lot of like weird accusations.
Yeah,
like,
you're
Anyway.
I like totals.
when we accuse the president of the United States of being a racist. To me, unless you show me actual where he is, you can't say what's in his actions, what he's done and not done, because every president can be criticized for that actions. While BLM, when Ferguson rose up, where was Obama on Ferguson?
Ooh.
So
I don't know.
here's my point. He's
I
not
was-
the president anymore. I
I
get
was
the
a
point.
spoiled little kid
My
at that
point
point
is,
in
my
time.
point is
I was
every
watching
president
things.
has their
I was a mess.
social thing, right? Bush got lucky in his last term, and it was not the 9/11 thing. Not that it was lucky, but I mean by that is, what I mean by
I've been looking at it.
what
all
I
night
mean by
since you put it
lucky
on the
is
bar. Okay.
is that he had something that he could lean on that was
Coronavirus.
I was
patriotic.
just going to say we're going to share something right now.
So I don't, and here's the thing that I want to point out is I think everybody at this table and everybody that's out there, we all kind of want the same thing out of this life. We all want a president that best represents us. We all want a president that takes humanity into consideration when he gives speeches. And everybody knows me, who knows me, that I wish Trump would shut the fuck up.
You do?
Yes, shut the fuck up, dude.
But you haven't said that this whole time. You called him a fuckwad for being mad
I
at
called him a
Trump.
fuck. it's-
He calls me a fuckwad every show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
fuckwad.
I say it all the time.
So
See, not every Trump supporter thinks Trump is like the end all be
Yeah, but
all.
I'm too
I just
tall.
wanna
In
say-
Missouri,
I
I
do wanna-
swear, it's okay. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'll have to end up playing
I'm trying
like
to get better. See,
No, I'll have to end up playing like a mediator thing until I bring up my topics and everything. I just want to say, I feel like,
Round one, fight.
Get over here.
get over here.
You were just waiting to do that.
Test
right?
your
You
might.
practice
Oh,
that shit.
yeah.
Is that what you do on your dates?
this podcast.
That's what he does on his dates, Joy. Get over
Get
here.
over here.
Yeah, on my dates I go finish him. So
no, but
Finish up, man.
one thing I want to say is I feel like a lot of people, and I've said this,
oh right.
I've said this in favor
Everybody
of
hitting
white
your-
men, and I've said this in favor of women.
Chick can't handle the smoke, man.
Obese
Excuse
women.
you.
I've said this in favor of white men,
Right.
women, obese women, skinny women, and black men, and just people in general.
Right.
I do feel like when we see a certain diversity at a table, if we have a narrative, like I'm gonna say, I'm the black dude at the table.
What? Wait
Imagine
a minute.
if-
What?
You're black?
Imagine if
What the fuck?
I
I don't see
color.
color.
Imagine if there was an episode, even though we've had all these
Sorry.
episodes where
Oops.
you guys literally ask me to speak on things or to talk about these, or like, hey, we just like Demon's way of thinking.
I
What
would
do you feel
never,
about this?
ever ask
right?
you.
I got too much melanin in my skin. But
my
the thing
God.
is, I feel like if there was one episode where maybe I wasn't getting to talk as much just because we're all loud, I feel like somebody might be like, I got him now.
Yeah.
A table full of white people and the
Uh-huh.
black man can't speak. Like I
Dude,
know we've
dude, you
all
got a
been
permanent
talking
part of the
over
show.
each
Quit
other.
trying to lobby for yourself.
I know we've all been talking over each other, but for the audience,
I'm
for
staying
some
on
of
the show.
audience- For some of the audience to make comments like 4 dudes at the table and 1 woman.
Yeah.
And who are we hearing the most of? Like
We-
I kind of feel like Joy's been talking just as strongly as all of
yeah.
us.
See,
Well, I kind of
we're
had
not
to do
when we're
that
not
for
stepping
my,
on her.
Here's why. It's because I had to do that because I had a house full of a lot of siblings,
No,
and we
yeah, that's
all
why
had
the
to talk
youngest-
over each other. Yeah, I was
The
like,
youngest child is usually
Like a dinner table,
I
right?
wasn't the youngest, but at the dinner table,
Yeah.
oh
I'm
my
saying, like,
god,
that's one thing we were taught in class.
My brothers would talk over me
As an
all
example.
the time, and so I had to like really make sure I was heard. So I am kind of bad at interrupting, but for me, it's not. It's not about like I'm the woman at the table.
No, yeah,
I never.
That's why I said
I
to the
never
people
gave a
posting,
shit about
That's why I
that,
said
you
to the
know?
people posting, like, I'm not referring to
Right.
you. I think you understand this.
Yeah.
I just don't appreciate as many episodes as I've seen on the show before I
Mm-hmm.
even became a permanent member. Like, I feel like I've never felt any, and you've had many women on the show. You let one just come in and sit down and just start talking and
Yeah.
take over the show.
Yeah.
And she was drunk as oh
This
my
wasn't
goodness.
you.
Oh, I was like, but
No,
I've
it-
only
this
had
was a few
three
shows ago.
You missed that one. You would have had a kick
So
on
I
that.
feel
Oh,
like
okay.
for someone to come in and on this particular show where there's 4 dudes and we're all yelling
Yeah,
to,
we were.
to be like 4 dudes, 1 woman, and she's not
Yeah.
talking. I mean, what about the time you guys were talking? me and her literally just sat here and sung a song
We
to
were
each other.
singing Kumbaya on our mics, and you
Were
guys
you?
didn't even hear us.
and neither-
I harmonized
That'd
with
be
him.
great
and y'all
backtrack
didn't hear.
And neither of you
Yeah,
were
why
letting
don't
the
you?
other
I
talk.
was making dumb faces
Neither
also
of
the
you
whole
were letting
time.
the other
Were you?
talk.
It
You
was
guys
silly.
were both talking at the same time.
And you were just
trying
like,
to stay on
you
the same
fuckwad,
boat.
Trump.
Zach,
And we were singing to each
Zach,
never-
other.
I love
never
I love
seen
the
him
way
so
you express your
emotional.
opinions
It's
and everything. That's why
hilarious.
sometimes I jump in and say, I think you should say this like this, because I think
Yeah.
I like the passion you have behind your opinions.
Zach said, if you
singing
don't
to
like
each
it,
other,
fuck you.
Zach literally was like,
Pretty much, yeah, literally.
But okay, but really,
He's like, "Let me
this
just
is a
step back."
really. Let me just say, this is a fucking hard time to get everybody at a table talking about shit like
It
this.
is, it is.
We're in a state of extreme civil unrest. We're in a state like where everybody doesn't like each other. Emotions are high, feelings are
This is
high,
the escape.
energy's high. But the fact that like, look at where we all are now. Like, weird tensions were kind of weird at the beginning. I feel like I'm at the end of Blue's Clues, where it's like, what did we learn today?
Your
But it's
mind is so rapid.
Oh, you
Like
have
you
no
literally,
idea.
it's like your mind must be like.
That's exactly how it is. all the
I
time.
get it. I get it.
Right, but like, yeah, I am a passionate person. Like, I'm emotional, but at the end of the day, listen here. At the end of the day, like, we can all like, if we agree to disagree, if like, I don't hate you. I
That's
never
the
hated
point.
you.
That's awesome.
But it's great.
That is the
it's
point.
Great because this is diversity. This is what it's about. Like,
It's
this
not
is-
about solving the
no,
world's issues.
it's about getting together, yelling at each other, and then at the end being like, cheers.
Zach had some very good points
Right.
on Trump about
Yeah.
70s and 80s and his hotels and how he possibly had some involvement. And that's the thing is I'm on a constant journey every day to learn stuff. This
Right.
is one reason for the show's existence is I want to invite people on that can teach me. When I have Holly Rayner on who's running for Senate, she teaches us about her issues and things she talks about. So moving into our next thing, the segue into
Yeah.
this week in racism, we can all agree on this one.
Oh God.
Seth,
Racism.
Seth Ryan Kleinberg.
And
who
hopefully
is-
next week I can talk
who is
without
from-
getting fucking
Next
called
week
a
in racism.
fuckwad.
Oh, I'm going to call you a fuckwad all the time.
Because I know that I have talked the least amount on this show,
I'm
and that's
sorry,
because
Brandon.
y'all are running this shit.
you always
Brandon,
talk
that's why he ran off. Is he was
See?
like, I'm tired of
You
y'all.
heard what he said?
Because here's the thing. Because it seems like, and I'm not trying to shit on anybody here,
No, you can shit on
but
them.
I
I imagine you take him.
politely listen while you guys are talking, and I never interrupt you.
You are very.
Ever.
I will give you
Brandon, I
credit.
felt that way too.
I'm new.
You are.
So-
Oh, don't
Am
call
I
him
not the guy-
respectful.
Am I not the guy who
Don't call
always
him
goes,
respectful.
Can I say something after this?
Yeah,
I don't
you're right.
interrupt with my speech. I
I
interrupt by
feel
saying
like
I
we
would like to
bonded
talk.
during this
Fair.
episode.
Yeah, thank
I feel
you.
like we
So-
did. You
So
bought me a
you're
drink.
the guy who
I was
doesn't
reaching
interrupt.
for your hand
I'm
because I was
sorry.
trying to we
Thank-
kumbaya
So
together.
let's.
I
We're
don't
going to
jump
go
in
on.
and
So
speak.
Seth
I
Ryan.
would like to
Okay.
speak.
Seth Ryan Kleinberg from Northeast Missouri. He is a utility worker from Northeast Missouri.
Oh God.
He was actually just shared on Facebook a couple of days ago, and I constantly go through and make my notes. So that's Seth Ryan Kleinberg, once again, a utility worker from Northeast Missouri.
Fuck him.
He
I don't know.
posted
I
a
don't really know
racist
much about him,
meme.
so I can't
Oh
talk
God,
much
what
on
was the
He
meme?
posted a racist meme. Well, I'll let people try to find it themselves. I want to give any credence to him and credit to what he posted because it was bullshit. But it was about what was going on in the world, and so I wanted to put his name out there. We've done this the last couple of shows where I call somebody out for being a pig or a racist or an asshole.
Right.
So last week or the week before, I called somebody out for using the N-word because some girl didn't
it.
agree with their sale price, and she was an African American, and she said, "All right, N-word," and she went on from there. And I was like, "Oh,
Whoa.
okay." So I got on the text stream. And I told the girls on there. I said, "Don't worry, I'll put her name out there, Cher Bear or whatever, Roberts." I said, "I'll put her name out there," and we did. I shared it. I said, "It could keep you from getting jobs. People watching and DFS could come to your house."
Welcome to
Yes, of course.
cancel culture. Yes.
So,
cancel culture.
Bang, bang.
So
I
be
hate
aware.
cancel
Be
culture.
aware.
I
Sharing
so
a
hate
meme.
it, like, so
We didn't
much.
like you, so don't expect
It
any
ruins,
business.
like, it
Being-
ruins the opportunity for dialogue. You know what I mean?
Being a racist is not okay, and especially when you share a meme, you can't just back off what you share a meme and go, "Hey, I didn't write it," because if you share it, you represent it. So just remember that if you share a post from someone, and the post is at all derogatory at all, the people that are getting offended by that post will still come to you and go, "Why did you post this?" I didn't write it. It doesn't matter. If I share Mein Kampf as my favorite book,
Fuck
people
off.
have a right to go, "What the fuck is wrong with
I
you?"
just pictured you with a Hitler mustache, and it was great.
let
Yeah, don't
the
do
man
it.
paint.
It's,
Okay.
I already get accused of being a
Can we
skinhead
Sharpie
as
that
it
on
is.
for next week?
So MLK said violence is a reaction
Mm-hmm.
to violence, not only immoral but ineffective.
Mm-hmm.
Liberals, this is MLK by the way.
MLK never said that.
He did say that.
Martin Luther King Jr. said that.
I'm sorry. Sorry, we're not talking about the king. We're talking about Martin Luther King Jr. So Martin Luther King Jr. said violence as a reaction to violence is not only immoral but ineffective. And he means that for both ways. He means that police cannot react to violence with violence that's unnecessary to affect their job. And people on the streets can't do the same thing. He believed in that. Liberals, and this is I'm going to go this one. Liberals and people that believe that there is a victimhood mentality. And what I'm trying to clear up is you can hate and detest what happened about what happened in this country. Nobody that saw that video, I don't know of anyone, it actually upset my stomach to watch that evil, shitty cop with his knee on that guy's neck, on Floyd's neck.
Can I add something here to that?
He has been quiet.
I agree with you. That is some shitty shit. But then why did we see the next day a bunch of people posting on fucking Facebook doing the Floyd challenge where they sat on
that was
people's
freaking-
knees
Oh,
on
that
their
was
necks
terrible.
and did that bullshit and smiled and posted on
horrible.
social media?
Yeah.
That tells me that there are two Americas, which is fucked up. And I want to hear, Damon, your opinion on this
There's
because
one
it
America.
is sickening to
There's
me.
one
I
America.
actually
They're
was
just
gonna
shitty
talk
people.
about
Because
that.
it's sickening to me.
But I
It's
was
not
gonna
two
talk about
Americas.
it
There's
when
one
Zach-
America, just
when
shitty
Zach
people.
Where you
was
can
here.
think you could get away with it, though.
Well,
That's
it's
what I'm
shitty
saying.
people, dude. It's shitty people.
It's disgusting.
It's
There's
the thing
TikTok
is,
America
no, it's-
and regular America.
It's another thing is I think some people live in such a world. It's kind of like those kids who get everything they want for Christmas
Right.
while their parents are still struggling. They're not very wealthy parents. But when they don't get that exact toy they wanted, or it's a knockoff of that version, they're still okay with crying about it and
Yeah.
or whatever. It's like they don't really see the world. They don't see the struggle that goes into certain things. And I really think they're so ignorant. They don't see the chaos that they're about to light. They don't see the match that they just lit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and plus there's also a kind that are just so ignorant and dumb that they know that match and they want to be the one that lights it. It's
Well,
just
it's
like,
about look at me, pay attention.
Yes.
Can I say something in a second?
I'm
or
done.
no?
Go ahead.
Okay, cool. I think for a lot of people, like, I think this is such a hard thing because I think as Americans, we don't, as a culture, we don't understand nuance. Everything is either black or white. Everything is either this way or that way, and there's no in between whatsoever. And so I think for a lot of like the left that makes themselves into victims, like hardcore, I think a lot of them are just trying to be heard, and they're overcompensating so much for all the times where they've felt unheard to where it's like, a lot of people feel like they are just being perpetual victims. And for a lot of them, that it might be the case. They might just be like trapped in that mentality of I'm a victim, whereas like I think we all know there's not really personal strength to be found in that. But I think that they're going like, I think a lot of them are going about it the wrong way. I think a lot of them just really want to be understood and seen and heard. I don't think they want to be seen as a victim, but I think that unfortunately with the leftist culture, that's kind of what it's turned into.
can I respond to that?
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that, and that's something that I've said in different words, of course. But like, I feel like another way of saying that is like the fact that we can look up past protests and everything, and you see that these protests that like the right has put on is usually just like on a corner saying we don't like just be blunt, put it out there like the anti-gay rights prides. They happened all over for years during the Bush administration, and there weren't many cases of like violence or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
They just stood on corners or outside pride rallies and did their thing. But now that we're in a time where it's more of you're going to see the left rioting or the left protesting. I'm sorry, I don't mean rioting. When you see the left protesting more, though, when people come to schools, they try to keep people from coming in the building. Okay, good and all, but then they get to the point where they're throwing stuff at the people, or they're saying, "Get out of here! We don't want you here because you have a different opinion."
Yeah.
But then when they do get a chance to speak, they say, "This is our opinion, and you should respect our opinion." And it's just like, I think they don't see their own hypocrisy
They don't.
because the way they look at the world is, and I don't mean they by all left, I mean those people in those times doing those things. I believe the way they look at the world is, I'm the victim, I'm the good guy,
We
you're
need
the
a producer.
villain. I'm the good guy, you're the
To
villain.
like trim
so
talk.
I'm gonna be I'm going to be right. That's just the case.
I think when you feel attacked, you tend to just kind of sink your claws in harder, you know. So I think for a lot of them, like they probably, this is just my opinion. I think that they probably didn't want it to end that way, where like they were seen as like victims and everything. But I think the more they felt attacked by the right, the more they kind of just, like I said, like dug in harder. And the same thing for the right. The more like the left kind of attacks the right, the more they sink their claws in harder.
I feel like part of a protest is literally saying you're the victim. Part of a protest
Well,
is
just to remind you guys, we're talking about the Floyd challenge picture about the kids kneeling on each other's friends for fun on
Oh,
Facebook.
these kids are spoiled.
So-
rich
Let
me
kids
ask
on
you this.
TikTok.
So why
That's
are we
literally-
talking about left versus right right now?
I haven't
Okay,
seen.
sorry,
let me
Raymond.
ask you this. I haven't seen these pictures. Are they all white kids?
yeah,
Black kids?
yeah,
what are
they're
they?
all white
kids.
kids.
But
Oh,
they're
that's
all like
disgusting.
spoiled.
I have
rich
it right
white kids.
here.
So like my daddy has a trust fund.
You
white
mean like
kids.
Antifa?
No, not.
It's Antifa. It's a lot of bunch of rich white kids from the suburbs.
So what do
They've
you,
arrested them.
These
They've
are
actually.
like kids with like you know what I mean? Like the kind of kids that like
Do we
Lori
know this?
Laughlin would pay to have them.
Do
like,
we
in,
know
you know,
that
in
that's who they are?
college.
Do we know that? Or are we
That's
just
what they
assuming
appear to
because they're
be.
white that they're that?
I'm assuming based on like what I've like observed from their TikToks and like what I've looked through from
profiles.
them, their
Okay.
profiles. You can gather like some kind of information
So-
without
The
making
them that they present to the world.
The-
I don't
Yes.
know. I don't know whether to condemn the rioters or to thank them for destroying the CNN building. I don't know.
I
It's
have
just-
to use the restroom. Is that allowed?
I'm just saying
Can I-
that's not really a point to argue about. But thank you, rioters, for destroying one of
These
the
are
worst.
just a couple examples
right? It's pretty garbage. man.
of
Just
kids
complete
just kneeling on their friends' necks and
There's a couple-
hashtagging George Floyd challenge and posting them on social
There's
media.
a couple guys actually, like figureheads at like schools and stuff like that. Like I know that I think there was a wrestling coach who did the same thing.
Yeah, and
it was
I'll-
like over this last weekend, it's just like, man, how can you not realize?
So
that
this
you're-
is yeah.
you can't.
This
do
is
that.
why.
There's
this,
another one.
This kind of stuff right here. This is exactly why. This is what's wrong with the country is that when this happens, the people that are around these people, and somebody knows who these fucking people are.
I mean, shit. Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine fucking shared this on Twitter earlier today.
So my thing about this is until each of us as individuals decide to start calling out the shit around us
Disgusting.
and start actually like making it a point to slap the shit out of somebody doing stupid shit, it's not going to change. We all have to be like, we all have to make sure that we
Joy,
are
did you want to see
starting
these
with our-
disgusting pictures?
We are
I didn't know if
starting-
you've seen
already.
them.
They're freaking horrible.
starting with
They're just
ourselves
awful.
in our own hearts, in our own homes. So like for example, in my home, my daughters know nothing about racism other than the fact that they know that there are people in the world that treat other people shitty.
Right.
They don't understand black and white. They really don't. 'cause
But how do we
don't.
fix this problem?
But that
Well-
goes to show you kids don't know the difference, which
So,
is why it's created.
the way you fix the problem-
Racism is created.
It is.
It's learned behavior.
Kids don't know.
This
Yeah,
is a
nature
good
versus
question.
nurture.
How do we fix it? And-
How do we fix it?
So
Teaching kids to
my-
not be racist.
No, that doesn't work because if that happens, then nobody would be racist because most parents teach their kids not
But
to
then
be
that would
racist.
work if no one was racist, right?
So my solution for this is my solution. My idea is I created a group called CCG that I'm moving forward. I'm supposed to meet with the chief Blair. CCG is Community Coordinating Group, and this group allows a full-on communication. Basically, breaks down all the walls of separation. So we have to be fair and admit that in the police departments across this country, police feel divided away from the citizens.
Okay.
I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying as a former cop myself, it was them against us because when we showed up to a scene, oftentimes the cops are the enemy. Oftentimes. They show up and the cops are the bad guys because the cops are there to arrest, to separate families, to do all that stuff, right? And I was one of the cops that actually wanted to help people. I actually wanted to talk and listen and try to get them, when they needed resources and help.
Right.
I remember driving several people to safe houses. I remember doing this kind of stuff. So what we all have to be able to do is, when we're talking about joining in this group that I'm trying to put together, is my whole thing is we this is not the first time we've had this conversation, not us, but in general in this country, has had this conversation about race and about being active and doing something. It's not about reactivity, it's about proactivity. You have to be ahead of something. So now that we're in the middle of this, now this is something that we are now for the first time, and good or bad or ugly, we are now everyone talking about it. My whole issue is where do we go? So CCG gives guys like you and me and all of us at this table, we get to go sit down and we get to not have a town council meeting, but we get to meet with city officials, police, and the media. And we all meet together and we all talk about issues from communities. So issues like this with this cop wouldn't have happened because that cop would have been rooted out by my organization. It would have exposed anybody that has complaints against him in the police department. We investigate the complaints. The complaints are of an abusive nature. We try to root out the cop and we bring attention to it. A lot of times cops go unnoticed because in big cities like Minneapolis, you could be out there on the street doing what you do. This guy had 18 complaints on him. So
There also is that brotherhood of police that kind
that's
of
the
backs
thin
you up
blue line that they
regardless
talk
of whatever
about.
it is.
The thin blue line they talk about, and this is the problem is, and just like any other group of people where you have friends and you have people that have your back, they stick up for each other because sometimes you feel like that group is all you've got. So if you're an individual police officer and you go to work, every day you're being told it's us, and that's them, and we have to break that down.
So you're trying to basically form like a union between cops and citizens.
We have to retrain police
Okay.
to look at citizens differently. They are not the authority and the power; they are the protect and serve.
Right.
And the problem that's happened with police departments, and this is just being real, is that, and I'm not blaming cops individually. I'm saying that police departments on a whole, because of the issues with crime and things that they deal with, there's psychological issues in police departments that aren't addressed.
Sure, yeah.
You've got guys with little man syndrome. You've got guys that got beat up in high
I
school.
have a prime example of that too.
And so
Yeah.
my point to this is CCG is able to expose this stuff for what it is.
Right.
But in turn, we have to be able to give cops a chance to speak about what they're concerned about and what
sure.
bothers them. So in other words, a cop should be able to say on camera or to whoever and say, this part of town has been a problem for the entire town. These 3 houses we go to 5 times a week, and we constantly have to break up this and this and this. So landlords and cops and the community have to get on board together and say, okay, we're not going to allow this behavior in our neighborhood.
Right.
And if you force those people out, then the people remaining, most of them are peaceful. This is what you have to do, and this is, the example is in New York in the 80s and 90s. Nobody likes Rudy Giuliani, but Rudy Giuliani brought
We did
up community policing. Community policing was not about stop and frisk. It was about going up and having conversations with people from communities and finding out what they were concerned about. So the solution is people deciding, I'm not just going to march, I'm not going to just protest, I'm not just going to talk about it. I'm going to meet with police chiefs, I'm going to ask for meetings, I'm going to sit down and talk with people, and then I'm going to not stop when I'm moving forward and trying to fix something. That's what we have to do. The problem is everybody marches and protests and they go home and play video games.
Well,
That's the problem, sorry.
okay. My thing is, I think, and this is, like I said, just my opinion, since I'm glad you guys are telling me about the way things are done, by the way, because I want to do things the right way, obviously, but like,
What do you mean how things are done? I'm sorry.
As far as like discussing amongst
oh.
ourselves
Oh,
and
I
like the
gotcha.
order of things, you know
I got
what
you.
I mean?
I got you.
Something that I discovered when I was in college and when I had classes on like diversity and history in the United States and everything, is that white people basically invented kind of like the segregation of like the minority communities and white communities in like bigger neighborhoods. And the reason for that is like black boys, did you know that they weren't allowed in the Boy Scouts, and that's part of the reason for like the gangs, like the reason they started. If you like actually research this, yes, I encourage people who are actually watching to research this. The creation of the Crips and the Bloods has a lot to do with the fact that we did not allow black young boys into the Boy Scouts, so therefore they had to create their own brotherhood. And unfortunately, a lot of those were present in like communities that were poorer. And they didn't really have a lot of access to resources, and so unfortunately they had to rely on a lot of gangs to give them the things they needed to survive. What one person would do is they say, I'll feed you, but in exchange you have to kill this guy. Okay, cool. As long as I feed my family, I'll do whatever you want. It is a perpetuated system of oppression and poverty that I think could not, what you are suggesting is a wonderful idea. It's a great idea. But I think the roots go much deeper than that, and it's.
So what's your solution? What do you do with joy? If joy is going to make a difference in the world, besides caring and talking about it, what's your activity?
I would suggest like reform in those neighborhoods, and I would suggest, because a lot of people who try to get out of these systems cannot do so because they're felons.
What, you said reform in the neighborhood?
Yeah, I'm saying in
What is-
terms of like.
what is that?
Okay, I'm saying if you were a felon and you try to get a job and you cannot do so because you have been involved in a gang before, and you have like been involved in like selling drugs and stuff because you were a part of said gang, I think that you should have assistance in wiping that off of your record so that you can start fresh.
Can't wipe it off the record because that's part of the legal system.
Okay, but there
But
can be steps.
there are
made-
assistants to get you jobs and
Correct.
things like that when you come out of
To
prison.
do that, because a lot of people try to come out of these systems of like poverty, and they're like, I can't do that. I have to go back to selling drugs because I'm a felon and I can't get a regular job.
I would say the best thing we could do in response to like that correlates with what you're
Yeah.
saying is so much of like an advocate
Yeah.
for those who were released and that's on their record, because
like
you
pro
commit the
bono?
right crime, that's on your record. That's the end.
No,
of it.
he's saying what he's saying, Joy,
No,
is
I would
I'm
say
not
an
speaking
advocate.
for you. Go ahead.
Say when I say an advocate, I say I got out of jail. I committed a horrible crime, but I was reformed while in jail.
Right.
But while in jail, say I worked with somebody and I got to know them, I feel comfortable with them. Now I'm released. That person can be kind of like a reference for me. They see me outside of jail, because of course we're gonna put all BS aside. With some people, that's just their mentality. That's how they survive. It's in there.
Yeah.
So we need to acknowledge that and not just think, oh, we took away your rights for 2 years, you're not gonna do this anymore.
Right.
That's bullshit.
Yep.
So outside of jail, you have this person, a counselor, whatever you want to call it. I say more advocate or whatever. and-
Accountability, maybe?
yeah, and they can
Yeah.
help see you accountable, and they also can be like, I truly witnessed sincerity in this person's change.
Right.
And when you go, and then, but that advocate has to be represented by a company that, or by something, a name that has has grounding. So when, say, you own a business, I'm an advocate for you, I can say, he has this on his record. You will find that when you do a background check. But I work with so-and-so, I'm his advocate. I can tell you that this is what I've seen so far, and now you have that to think about as well.
Well, I was on exit committee. I was a prison guard for 6 years, sergeant, and I was on exit committee, and part of my job was to check on their home plan. Like,
Yeah.
what is your plan going forward?
Right.
Because when you leave prison, if you're on paper, they call it on paper, but it's basically where you're still tracked by the state, where you're not free and clear. You have probation, parole, whatever. When you're on paper, there's a plan. It's called a home plan. Your home plan is where you're going to live, got to get a job, what are your feelings about getting out, are you scared, this and that. It's basically a whole battery of like questions. So they go into an interview room before they get released, and then we basically talk to them. And so part of what I did was, when I talked to people, was my first question was, where are you going when you get out? And he said, well, I'm going home. And I'm like, okay, you're going home where? Because people have different homes.
Right.
They have home with mom, they have home with their friends. So I said, where are you going? Well, I'm going home. You going home with who? I'm going to go to my mom's house first, and I'm going to try to get a job. I said, listen, if your mom's neighborhood, if you're in the neighborhood that you came from when you got convicted, don't go back there. Because the same people that are not in jail right now are still out there running around.
A lot of them don't
And-
have
What's up, my dog? I got a
choice.
job for you if you want to jump in, get you back on your feet.
There you go.
Why don't we hit this up real quick?
And you get desperate because
Just
you
get
don't
in,
have
get
the
out,
money.
It'll be the only one. It'll be enough
Yep.
to get you back on your
Yep.
feet.
Yeah. I just wish there were
and-
more options, you know
Well,
what I mean? Like,
the, what we need to do is, before they go to prison, that's when we fix it. And here's how this works,
Yeah.
real simple, is at-risk youth, and I'm not talking about black or white, I'm saying at-risk youth,
Yeah.
period. At-risk youth have to be identified very quickly, and we can't ignore it by saying, oh, he's just going through a phase. I have a son in prison. I saw the signs from the time he was 10 years old.
you have a son in prison?
I have a son in prison.
Wow. Okay.
He's in prison. This is his second time in.
Okay.
And I saw the problems from the time he was 10 years old. Now, my cries out for help and my speak to my, I guess you could say my my ex-wife and then the Justice Department
Yeah.
and Tim Godlove,
What's up?
and went on deaf ears because I didn't have custody of my sons.
Yeah.
But because of my ex-wife's inability to care for them, or just didn't understand how to care for them, boys are raised differently than girls.
I will say that, yeah.
Right, and the reason being is boys act differently. They mature differently. They have a different intelligence. Everybody, and I know this for a fact. I have twin daughters. Girls mature much faster than boys.
Yeah.
They are already on top of certain responsibilities. They already have these things if they have good guidance. My sons didn't get that because every time they came to my house, it was structure and rules, and they went to her house. Can you imagine me having structure? But at her house, it was like, okay, whatever.
Right.
So speaking as someone that's seen all sides of that, when I was on the exit committee and I talked to guys that I never did an exit committee on somebody that had life. I did exit committees on guys that did 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, stuff like that, 3 years and stuff for all different kinds of crimes. A lot of guys from St. Louis and Kansas City. The one thing, the common denominator is the fear they had of not being able to live a normal life when they got out. Not only the judgment, but the fact that nobody wants to hire a felon.
Breaks my
They can't
heart.
build their life back.
Yeah.
And so
that sucks.
what has to be determined before they went in is what can we do to help the kids before they get there? And I know that the juvenile department and the police departments don't have a lot. They should. Juvenile department should be your fallback, but it's all about prosecution. It's all about that stuff.
There's a question for you, actually,
Oh.
from Amber.
Okay.
She says,
I was gonna say
Oh,
something about that.
if-
No, go ahead. I was like, I noticed it too. I was
Look
just saying.
at us getting along. Okay.
See how that works, man? We sit around the table and people are like, okay, you don't agree with me, but
Sorry,
it's all
I'm too
good.
emotional for you. Anyway.
She'll turn that
Okay.
into a bit. She does stand-up comedy.
Don't.
And
no,
she's
no,
really
no.
funny.
No. Okay.
You are really funny.
All right, cool.
Sorry.
I respect the effort of creating this organization, but Amber goes, how do we fix racism at the core of our country? How do we make Americans not so fucking racist?
Okay, so that's a good
Can you not
question.
use words like that in the chat, please?
Yeah.
How dare you
We're
use the
concerned
phrase
about language.
"or"?
All right, Amber, it's a good question,
I
but
was
your
just
question's
reading the-
your question's super big,
I know.
and the bottom line about it is how do you fix racism? Well, that starts in the home, and you start very simply. The racism we're talking about, some of it is so minute that people are cut out of certain areas of life because of things in the world that go on, whether your skin color, your gender, whatever it may be. So the way we fix it, and Amber's saying it's a racist country. Okay, is there racism in this country? Yes.
Yeah.
Did we get formed on a lot of racist shit? Yes.
Is
Do I
there
believe that
systematic
the
racism?
whole of this
Yeah.
country is racist? No. This whole country, and the majority of it, is not racist. What is happening is we're being spoon-fed, and we're being told what to think, do, and say by a media, by politicians, and by misguided people. The way we beat racism is each one of us look in the mirror and go, analyze what your thoughts are about people. Do I look at Damon and see him as a black man? I see he has different color skin. I think he's a beautiful man. I don't think anything about him differently other than it's Damon. I don't see that what people talk about. Maybe because I was raised that way. But we have to first start educating from a young age. I think in elementary school, when kids are super impressionable, with parents' guidance, we don't want to step out of that, but with parents' guidance, we need to do actual social studies and not Christopher Columbus. We need to actually talk about the day-to-day interactions between races. We need to actually talk about how certain groups of people are oppressed and put down. And then we have to be real about it. And like, how do they come out of it? How do we need to teach a bunch of self-analytical people that can adjust their own lives and find a way that they can be more accepting of others.
But we can't count on every parent to do that. You know what I mean?
But you can't make them. You got to
Yeah.
admit. You've got to admit.
Go ahead. You have more to say about
You
this
have
than
to
I do.
admit,
I'm a white girl. Go ahead.
This is what we first have to say is we can't try to beat all racism. It's not possible to beat it. What we have to do is we have to try to have a system of checks and balances that keep racism in check. We can't beat racism. You can't beat hate. Hate's not going to go away because we say we love everybody. People are going to hate. Racism is going to be here. But what we have to do is we have to call out racism when we see it and make that the normal activity of
And
the
make
day.
real consequences
And
for
make
it.
real consequences for it. But what do you mean by that?
I mean, it all, I guess, depends on the
Slippery
situation.
slope.
You're right, it is a slippery slope, but at the same time,
I-
like systematic racism within the police community right now, obviously that's center stage. Obviously holding those 4 people accountable for the death of George Floyd is one step in the right direction, but the clear thing is what you said, retraining of police.
So last thing I'll say. and
Because there
I'm
is some
gonna let you-
bias.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
I'm going to let you jump in but here's what I'd say. What I would recommend as far as fixing the police department, this CCG is the exact key to that because it gives cops a voice and gives the people a voice with no restrictions. But we also, how effective would it be if someone from an organization that was supposed to monitor cops' behavior was able to be with them on their job. So if we had a camera rolling and somebody from CCG was watching and basically watching their interactions
So
with
live
people,
PD, but
live PD, but basically unedited version, so someone could monitor police patrol, which people sit around and listen to scanners all the time. You put a screen in front of me in the evening, and I'm on night shift with Demond, and our job is to watch car number 2, car number 3, what they're going on, their interactions. Nothing the police should do while the employee of the public should be private. Nothing.
You know,
That's
do
how I
agree
feel
with
about
that.
it.
I agree with that actually completely, for
That's
sure.
actually something
Yeah.
that's been instated but not enforced, or it really was just like something instated as like a okay, feel better now kind of thing, because
With the
police
body
have
cams?
body cams. But then again, one thing I've always asked myself whenever I read an article where it was like the body cam was turned off, I always ask myself
How?
like.
Well, they do it.
Is it-
you ever see their hand go up to it?
No, what? No, I know.
They hold
I
it
know
down.
how it's physically
Yeah.
turned
Okay.
off.
Okay.
What I'm saying is
That defeats the
why
purpose.
Why is it possible for an officer to literally take his accountability, his thing that he's always like, okay, this thing is watching me, and be like, go away.
Well, that's my point to this. You can't shut the CCG's
It's like a
camera off.
community oversight program.
Exactly.
basically. I see what you're
Exactly.
No, I
Exactly.
see what he's saying, but what I was just saying is like, it's funny. I was just saying, hey, this is funny because
I do
Right.
agree.
this is something that
It's
it's
essentially
crazy.
in a way the same thing. I mean, but
It's like
one
for
you
a
can turn
sinner to
off.
say, "Hold up, God,
one you
close your eyes,"
one you
like-
It's
technically cannot.
accountability is what it is.
That's what it's about.
Like
And
that's
police-
and that's what it needs.
The
Like,
problem with it is here's the problem. There's legalities involved because there's a lot of confidentiality stuff that could happen. You know, you've got names and social security numbers and data stuff. That's why the people, if you're in CCG, if you're watching the monitors, part of it is you have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. It's legal and binding. And then we basically get the state on board where we basically say if you violate these by giving any private information away. And basically what you're doing is it's police oversight, but with the eye on humanity and people being people. If I don't think anybody would say this ever, and Zach, I'll ask you before we're getting ready to close out, but if a cop shows up on a scene and as soon as he gets there somebody's pointing a gun at him, do you agree a cop can pull a gun and defend himself? If the guy's pointing a gun at the cop, I'm going to kill you. You don't think that the cop should be any different than anybody else, because I'm a Second Amendment guy. Somebody pulls a gun on me, I'm pulling my gun out, I'm going to shoot him because that's what I'm allowed to do, and that's what you have to do to protect yourself. Do the cops not have the same right to defend themselves that everybody else does?
I believe that they have the same right to defend themselves, but I feel like sometimes the situations are so blurred and they use it to their advantage in such a way that it could very easily he could have been in the right, but he never helps his circumstance because he's like, take for instance that guy, what was it, like a couple years ago, a year or two ago maybe even, when he was like, he was shooting like pesticide basically in a hotel room with like a rifle.
The
and
kid.
he's in the
What the
hallway.
fuck?
Yeah, the kid, they shot
Right,
him.
and they fucking shot him in the hallway while he's
Yeah.
crawling on his hands and
It was
knees in the
his
hallway.
job, yeah.
It's his job, dude. And
So
this
they
is
used-
like,
Crawling
this
his
guy's
pants,
got a
falling
gun, and
down
it's just
and-
like,
Yeah.
okay, well, yeah, but that gun also doesn't shoot fucking bullets.
Well,
man.
that's why oversight during those situations where you have a committee of people tied in with the police department, right? So a lieutenant can watch live feed with members from CCG and they confer on it. If they show up and they're like, that's not a gun, put your guns down. Like there's a way that, I'm talking about Big Brother for cops.
I understand that. I do understand
I think
that.
that's a fantastic idea.
There's a way you
honestly.
can make it fair
I think-
because cops are like, we want to do our jobs, we don't
yeah.
be.
I
But
think
no, I'm sorry.
There's a weird area there where it allows for just nothing to happen also, though, because it doesn't change anything. Whereas a body cam is absolute and it always has to be on. I feel like it should be a thing where if your body camera is not on, you get suspended for like a fucking year. And if something happens in that, you're never a cop again, which generally
Well,
speaking probably is going to be the case anyway.
There are considerations that sometimes body cams malfunction, so there has to be a review on that. So you can't just automatically say you're suspended for a year.
Right. But
We have to make sure
me,
that it's
kind of a cop out because
That's
not
the
to say cop out, but
No, I was just going to
You
say
get the
it's
pun of
too
the day.
much-
Right.
It's too much room for excuse because of the fact that we can literally say sometimes body cams. Sometimes body
then
cams-
backup body cam.
But see,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like,
Cops
for
gonna do
sure.
anyway. Like,
But
my
you don't have
boyfriend's
to have
on
back-
for
guys,
shoot.
close, I never got to.
the CCG. Listen, the CCG, that type of thing, that camera never goes off. never goes off.
Yeah, we're all
I think he
advocates
was
for it.
gonna
We're
get
all
No, I'm saying
advocates
that's
for
what I'm saying. Is he's
yeah.
talking about backup camera. You don't need a backup camera. In fact, you don't need body cameras anymore. You need the camera for an observation group that's sitting in a room, so we know what's going on and we can report actively to other people and let them know what's going on. Everything is recorded 24/7. Everything is monitored 24/7. It doesn't take that much staff to do it. You could have a couple guys that like to be up midnights and watch it. What I'm saying is, it gives a direct accountability, and I believe with retraining cops on the humane side of things, the psychological side of things. I know when I showed up to a scene, I wanted to know what was going on, what was the issue with people,
Yeah.
as opposed to, get the hell over here.
But not every cop wants to know that information.
Well, we have to train them.
I remember the
The
first
SOP
time,
has to be that.
with the first time, okay, I got in trouble a long time ago when I was like 19.
Stole a car.
No, I didn't. I drank and drove when I was 19, and I was like 0.02. I know, I was like 0.02, but the point is I was driving under the influence when I was like underage, and they were like, if you were over 21, we'll let you go. Whatever, we have to take you in. And I saw a kid of like that I knew that was bullied like massively, like in junior high. He was a cop. And he was like the worst one at the station. He was like the one that was going around, you know, pulling up his belt and being dicks to like all the inmates and everything.
Like the AV kids in high school?
Yeah, and I was just like,
Wow.
damn.
Dude, they were serious.
fucked up.
Hey, they were like real about it.
I mean, that's the thing. Like the kids that got bullied the most, here I saw him in a uniform
Yeah.
and I was like, shit.
Yeah.
Like that sucks because now he can take out all his aggression that he had when he was in junior high that he never got to let out because he was like a skinnier guy. You know, he didn't really he had like one friend and like didn't really defend himself a lot, wasn't able to because he was, you know,
So,
couldn't-
whatever side you come down on any of the issues we talked about tonight, what
There were a
matters,
lot.
There were, and we got very emotional. But it's good though, man. This is the point here. We can all walk away from the table today, and we can say whatever we want. But the
Right.
bottom line is, we got a lot of stuff ringed out. Now, was anything solved? Don't know.
we can't
I don't
solve
know.
everything. I mean, we're just
We can't solve
yeah.
it. So we're basically putting out things that people talk about day to day, and we're offering our opinions on how things are. And that's what we have to remember is I respect Zach for coming on the show because a lot of people don't come on the show. They feel a little intimidated because of the fact that typically when Zach's here, it's me and Zach, and we just overwhelm people, and people feel like, nope, I'm not part of that. But I respect you and Joy for coming on because you guys were willing to stand on what you said in front of 8 people, maybe more.
A
We
lot
do-
more.
we
There
do
were a
have-
lot more.
Sorry,
throughout.
I was
Yeah.
so
I'm literally
emotional,
actively watching.
everyone.
But what I said that I didn't mean like as in a way to slight you guys.
No,
I'm saying
no,
that, like,
no,
it could
no.
be 8 people, it could be 800 people.
No, we don't.
I'm gonna say the same shit
I'm
either
joking.
way, you
yeah.
know what I mean?
No,
Honestly,
what I'm
the
saying.
way I feel is that everyone who I've seen on the show, besides the girl who just sat down at the table, has been very passionate.
The SIU
and
graduate.
if not very known, like not very studied in the topic they were speaking of, they knew it. They weren't just blabbering, you know. And I feel like we at least have the advantage to one passionate person who's willing to talk about what they believe to influence another passionate person or them influence us. So if in some way I got one of you to lean towards my side and
I'm leaning towards
and knowing you're a passionate person, you're going to go out there and lean towards another and get another person to lean.
Yeah.
You know, eventually the boat's going to lean one way if enough people lean to that side.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel like. That's the 8 or 800. Like knowing that we got somebody who's willing to go out there and say something to be on our side, or they got us to be on their side. It's something done.
And that's the thing is the end of all this is what we don't want to do in conversation is it's not always about convincing somebody. It's not always about winning an argument or being right or
gotta go
I
in
know
a
more
certain
about
way.
Trump than you. It's really about Zach saying these things bother me about our president. It's about me saying, okay, this and that and the other, whatever. And it's about us finding kind of a middle ground where like, okay, it is what it is. You're going to think what you think. I'm going to think what I think. But at the same time, we can learn. Like I learned stuff from you. I didn't know about the 70s, 80s, the casino thing. I think that's interesting. I'm going to look it up and research it. So if we're all willing to do that, if we all take a moment when someone tells us something, to not just shut them down and go, Zach, you don't about.
can't
Eric,
go
you don't know what
into
you're
a
talking
discussion as
about.
if
You
you
got to
know
be able
everything.
to. Yeah, you can't
You
do
have
that.
to think this
You
person
can't
can
do
probably
that.
teach me something.
And I will
Be willing
admit,
to.
like, because I'm so used to people being like, "Shut up, you don't know what you're talking about." I will kind of go into a conversation.
Do people say that to you for real?
All the time. Oh my god,
Really?
yeah. When I was little, people would be like,
Where
"Joy,
are they?
You're so
Where are
naive."
they?
Not.
I
Anyway,
just stop talking
Ba-dum-bum.
when they reach that point. I just
Right.
stop talking. It's
But
like,
but you know what I mean? Like you get like if you're taught that so long, if you're told that so long that like your point of view doesn't matter, you can like kind of
Michelle.
overcompensate. And I'm
Someone
kind of
is blowing
guilty of
you up
that
with
too.
hearts,
So I
bro.
have to learn how to like hold it back.
Yeah.
You know, like I had to learn how to listen to you, not interrupt you. It's just you're learning how to like kind of gauge everybody. And it's like a dance almost. You're kind of
Yeah,
learning how
it
to
is.
communicate
And,
amongst
and
each other.
people that watched were probably taking sides and agreeing and not agreeing, and they had questions and more questions make more questions. But the bottom line is we cannot ever let go of our conversation. That's the key to success in everything. And we can all sit around and have ideas and opinions about stuff, but be proactive in your life. Have a conversation with somebody that you may not agree with, because the point of the matter is I'm fine with how Zach feels about how he feels, how he thinks about stuff. I think Zach's an intelligent, I've said this on previous, Zach's an intelligent guy, so I respect what he says, and he has reasons for it. Same thing with Joy and everybody else. I don't want people to agree with me all the time. That sucks. I don't want people sitting around going, you're right, because you never learn. You don't learn jack when you sit around a bunch of people that agree with you.
Right,
That's
that's
what's
true.
wrong with TV.
Yeah.
What's wrong with TV is they don't have enough disagreement. They have a bunch of going, it's this way, and there's somebody going, but wait a minute, shut the fuck up. So my whole thing is this show, if more people would be like this show, we can all sit around and have a beer together or a drink together and get along just fine. And then smoke them if you got them, share whatever you got. You know what I mean?
even if two people about to rip each other neck off, one person scoots the hell back and two of them start singing Kumbaya.
Right.
Kumbaya.
That's
Right.
it. And then we're good, you know?
Oh, at no point
I've had,
did I
like-
think about that.
Oh, no,
I'm
I
just
was
super
just saying,
passionate.
You'll hear it
Even when I
later.
called him a
It
fuckwad,
sounded really good,
he calls
I
me an
think.
idiot and shit. It's like, I don't,
Listen,
nobody.
but-
I know, like,
Yeah.
that's what I was
I
saying.
think
That
our
was kind of
mix
a weird
sounded great though.
cuss
like,
word, though,
between
too.
your
Fuck
lead
off.
It was a
my
good one.
harmony,
That's
it
a weird
sounded
insult,
really good.
actually.
Anybody who thinks otherwise.
For some
Right,
reason
they
it says
can
that
go
we're
fuck
interrupted,
themselves.
but
Yeah.
we were probably done
They're
almost
fuck-
anyway.
All right, so when we're going to close it out, I want to keep everybody all night. We
Right.
ran over again. We've been doing that a
Wow.
lot lately. I blame
Well,
Damon for that.
well,
Since
we get
Damon came on the
passionate,
show,
you know?
Since Damon came on the show, we've run over every night. So it's Damon's fault. Has nothing to do with anybody else.
We're gonna
beautiful
start
man.
we're gonna start pay locking the last 30 minutes of the
So
show.
I do want you guys to take part in the conversation. So
Kidding.
your comments, we see them. The guests have tracked them through the show. If there's anything you want to know or you have any questions, comment any of the guests. And for my guest, Damon, Brian, I almost called you Brian.
Hey, my mother
Brandon-
does it too, and that's her brother's name.
Brandon,
I don't know what the fuck.
Zach, and Joy. This is Sessions. We're here every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. You can catch us on the podcast everywhere. Those are things that are at. Get on your interwebs and find us. We'll see you next week, 8 o'clock. Hopefully Zach will be back, but if not, we'll try to carry on without him. And that's his hat right there. God bless. Good night. Be peaceful. Love each other.
We'll see you.